For the past few weeks, drivers have been working near non-stop for this moment. Competitors from across North America have prepared their super late models for hours on end for a chance to win this event. This afternoon, $600 is on the line in the second annual Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery, and you can see it from green flag to checker flag, live on LSR TV and the iRacing Esports Network. Good afternoon and welcome to pre-race coverage of this weekend's 356-lap main event for the virtual Five Flags Speedway in beautiful sunny Florida. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside the booth to call the action today will be Ben Gilcrease, with Aaron Groskopf in the director's seat for today's race. The drivers are getting all set to go into the star-studded field for today's action. A mix of real-world drivers who competed in the Snowball Derby in real life for qualifying, as well as some of the best iRacers that you can ask for. World champions, late model legends, and more, all set to take to the track today. We're moments away from the start of today's action, about an hour or so in total. And the question's going to be, who will take home that prize? It's going to be an interesting race, to say the very least. The track in the afternoon sunshine for the 356 laps. 72 degrees the track temp. 105 total track temp, rather, with a 72-degree air temp. It will be a hot one, to say the very least. These drivers have only had a couple sessions in the daytime to make adjustments to their setups, but many more have spent somewhere upwards of 6, 12, even full 24 hours preparing their cars for this one race. Should be an absolute stellar event today, as we're moments away from today's action. But let's bring in my co-host Ben Gilcrease for today. Ben, it's been a fun 5 days and nights of action for this half-mile circuit. But for these drivers, they still have to fight for victory today. What should we expect for our super late model competitors this afternoon?
Boy, it's going to be a long race. These guys are going to be on the edge of their seat. It's going to be slick. We're met with something we really haven't seen a whole lot this weekend, Justin, and that's the sun. The sun starting to peek through here today at the Five Flags Speedway, starting to show its light, starting to heat up that track. It's going to be a little slick. The temperatures are a little bit higher than they've been all weekend long. This guy is going to have a handful of a car today. It's 356 laps. We've got a lot of racing to do, and patience is going to be maybe the winner this afternoon.
Let's talk about what happened throughout the entire week leading up to tonight. Because it's been a tale of two drivers when you think about it. Ryan Kuhn and Alex Mccollum have won all of the events so far. 2 for 2 out of 4, each of those drivers. Your thoughts on what we've seen throughout the entire week leading up to this main?
Well, we've seen some great racing all throughout the week here at the Snowball Showdown. Maybe a little bit more chaos in some races than others, and that we would have liked to have seen. But overall, I think it's been a successful weekend, and I think a lot of these drivers have had really a real good time over the course of this weekend. So thankful for everybody participating in this. But yeah, you mentioned it, Ryan Kuhn, Alex McCollum. They've both got 50% winning streak heading into today's race, and one of those drivers hoping to make that a 66.6% win ratio here at the end of today. But these are the best drivers in all of sim racing. You're looking at them, or you will be looking at them here in just a little bit. I mean, the top drivers in all of sim racing in America, the short track online side of things. We've got some international drivers mixed in as well. You're going to see one heck of a race today, and history be made for sure.
Absolutely, it should be interesting. Who else are you keeping an eye on outside of those drivers to try and make history today on this track?
Oh man, it's so hard to pick a favorite today. I think any one of these 34 starting drivers has a shot to have a to make history in victory lane here at the Five Flags Speedway. Just a ton of great drivers and talent in this field today. It's hard to pick. It's hard to pick a winner. Any of these 34 could make the right moves, have the right strategy, and come out today with the virtual Tom Dawson Trophy.
Let's talk about the format for these drivers tonight. We talked about it a little bit, the 356 laps, but some interesting tidbits. One, just 8 tires in the pits. That's 2 total sets available for the race. But 2, the potential of a competition caution if we get an 80-lap green flag run.
Absolutely. So that rule is kind of similar in the real life Snowball Derby, and we've adapted it over here as well. Everybody needs a break every once in a while, and that's really what that's for. It's a break for us broadcasters, a break for the drivers to kind of cool down, maybe come in, take some tires if they choose. So if we see an 80 lap green flag stint at any point of the race prior to lap 300, we'll have a competition caution. That being said, if we go green on lap 1 here and go all the way to lap 80, the competition caution is going to fly on lap 80. Say we have a caution 20 laps later on lap 100, the next competition caution would be on lap 180 if we were to go green that whole time. So it's really going to maybe mix up strategy more than some drivers would like, but it's also there to help other drivers if they need be.
Indeed, the drivers starting to work on staging, in fact, as you see some of them lining up on the racetrack at the moment. So it's going to be an interesting grid to say the very least. But before we get towards that direction, there's a lot to go through. First, we like to thank our presenting sponsor for today, Murder Creek Distillery, located in Brewton, Alabama, and served the Panhandle of Florida. Murder Creek Distillery specializes in a variety of moonshine flavors. If you're in the Panhandle, check out your local liquor store for Murder Creek products today. Check them out online for more info and to see how you can get their products shipped to your door. And it's been a special week as well to have all this sponsorship and all these companies willing to back short track racing such as this on the iRacing service here, Ben.
That it has, and we can't thank Murder Creek Distillery enough for coming on board. I've sampled many of their products, and I actually have quite a few in my bin. They're locally owned. Some of the best moonshine I've personally ever tasted, mixed with some lemonade. My favorite mixture is the blueberry moonshine mixed with lemonade, and man, it's a great mixture. But if you're ever in the Panhandle of Florida or in South Alabama, even, please get by Brewton, Alabama, or even any local liquor store here on the Panhandle. A lot of liquor stores are serving Murder Creek Distillery products, and support the great guys behind the scenes there.
There's still a lot to keep in mind, though, with a race such as this, because there's a lot of pressure for these drivers. We've seen the urgency of some of the drivers to get through the last chance qualifiers last night to try and battle for position. What type of urgency are you expecting today with the long 356 laps to get to the finish?
I don't really think there's going to be a lot of urgency, especially in the top 10. I think the top 10 is going to be content to ride. Devin Morgan, driver who won the last chance race, he might be the most urgent driver on the racetrack. We'll talk a little bit about that later on. But some of the guys starting at the back may be urgent to get to the front. Some of the guys up at the front they're just going to ride for 300 laps. There's no reason to get in any hurry, no reason to push the car, no reason to get any damage early on. This is a very long race. It's almost twice as long as, it is twice as long as 3 of the other races we've seen this weekend, almost twice as long as last night's race. So these guys really going to have to be patient out on a racetrack, give a lot of give and not so much take in these first 250, 300 laps.
What do you think some of these cars, such as that 112 machine, what do you think they're going to feel with this hot track in terms of the handling, especially as this track rubbers up and progresses as the event goes on?
The track has been used up all weekend long. It's started out on what we call 100% usage on iRacing, and it's just going to continue to wear as the race goes on. We saw the outside line come in last night. That may come in a little bit later today with these 900 horsepower machines. It's really going to be up in the air as what's going to happen here at the Five Flags Speedway. Again, I mentioned the temperatures. It's been 65 with a track temperature of maybe 80 at the highest. Today, air temperature's 72. It's partly cloudy. The sun now beating down on the Five Flags Speedway. The track temperature 104, and that's only going to climb as this race continues, or once we take the green and continues to rage on into the sunset.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point because Up to 4 hours available for these drivers on the track here at Five Flags Speedway. How do you think they'll be able to adapt as this track goes through various changes, heats up as the drivers roll their way across the circuit in battles for position as they approach that sunset later on this evening?
I mean, they're these guys are really going to have to be up on the wheel. There's going to be a lot of challenges that they are going to face. You mentioned it, the track is going to be constantly changing from the drop of the green flag all the way to lap 356. They may run into the blinding sunset down in 3 and 4 that they may have to deal with depending on how late this race runs. It's really going to change a lot as this afternoon progresses, and it's going to be fun to watch right here on our Facebook page live on the Snowball Showdown.
Yes, we're so happy to have the fans along with us. Again, want to give a shout out to those fans because they've been watching all weekend long, all the way from Wednesday night, all the way to today's Sunday afternoon feature. Once again, I'd like to thank you, the fans, for tuning in for what's been an eventful Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery with all the event. But we want to talk about more of the sponsors, of course, who are part of this event, such as Tobacco Free Florida. TServerHQ.com has also been a part of this event, the official server provider of the Snowball Derby. With whether you're a team owner, league organizer, or just want a place to hang out online with your friends, check out TServerHQ.com tonight. Offering TeamSpeak servers starting with just a couple bucks and guaranteeing 99% uptime or your money back. You can't really go long. That's TServerHQ.com, and be sure to tell them the guys of the Snowball Showdown sent you. And I have to say, this has been a high-quality TeamSpeak. This is the basically host server as well for the broadcast booth. It's been one of the highest quality broadcast booths I've seen in my broadcasting career so far in iRacing.
Yeah, absolutely. T-Server HQ does a great job, and like I said, you can get a server for as little as just a few bucks a month if you need a place to hang out with your friends, or if you're a league owner. This is a perfect TeamSpeak server. 99.9% uptime, and if it goes down to 99.8%, then you get your money back for a portion of that. So a great service, but. Now, if it's okay with you, Justin, I want to bring in Brent Keith to the broadcast booth, as he is the owner behind BK Paints, and BK Paints has been a great supporter here for Snowball Showdown weekend. Again, presenting BK Paints Pole Night Friday night, and boy, that was an exciting night. I know Brent was on the edge of his seat all night. The BK Paints 175 and the modifieds, which got exciting at times, and here in just a little bit, we're going to be presenting the BK Paints Best Appearing Car Awards in the Pro Late Model and the Super Late Models. But nonetheless, so Brent Keith here in the broadcast booth with us. Brent, it's Sunday, and the big show is here, man. How you feeling?
Oh, we're getting ready. We're anxious. We want to get this thing going, and want to say thanks to everybody for showing up and all the work you guys have done. I know it's quite the big task, and it's been a couple months ongoing, every couple days getting with you, and it's here. Let's do it.
I know a lot of communication between us two, and Brent probably gets mad at me a couple times because I don't respond back to him, but I'm just so busy, with this event, and we have a great friendship, and so glad that Brent's been a part of promotion efforts here at the Snowball Showdown. But let's talk about BK Paints for a little bit, Brent, and the service you provide iRacers. You got a lot of cars in the field this weekend, and I'm sure as 2020 gets close, you're going to be getting some 2020 rides painted up for some new customers as well.
Absolutely. We just basically started out. I'm just doing paints for all my buddies, and it's grown a little bit. We decided to put up a Facebook page a while back, and steadily getting guys coming and going. I mean, I'll charge 10, 20 bucks for a paint, and away they go. And if you got any trouble with it, or you want a base change, or you want some names changed, and basically oval cars, asphalt, but they'll send me a message, and I'll shoot it right back to them. And it's basically just a hobby, and it's starting to grow a little bit. And with the Glove Box Motorsports guys, and I know Jerry Glenn's running one of my paints. He got a hold of me last month and got me some ideas, and Jody Ridley paint, and like, yeah, we'll do that for you. Just put it up front, and
There you go.
made him a late model as well. So yeah, it's growing. It's something to do. I enjoy it.
Great looking paint on Jerry's, by the way. I love that Jody Ridley throwback. You'll see that in the field and many other of Brent's paints in the field today. But if somebody wants to get in touch with you, Brent, to get a new paint scheme for 2020 or maybe for just a short track event, for short track league maybe, how can they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. It's BK Paints on Facebook. Just apply to that page and then send me a message through there on through that page, and we'll get back to you. It's usually in the evenings I'll be on, and if I'm not busy, I'll hit you up during the day. I'm at work. But yeah, it's fairly simple. Everybody's got Facebook, and if you don't, you can get a hold of me at brentkeith@hotmail.com.
Well, there you have it, Brent Keith with BK Paints. Brent, thanks again for all your support, and good luck to all your guys down there in today's race.
Oh boy, it's gonna be a good one. Thanks, Ben.
There you have it, Brent Keith with BK Paints. Justin, and you mentioned it earlier. We could not do this without the support of our sponsors and everybody behind the scenes here with Snowball Showdown weekend. A great guy there, and really looking forward to getting this race underway. He's looking forward to seeing some of his paint schemes maybe at the front of the field.
Absolutely. Once again, BK Paints, if you're in the market for a slick skin, new skin on the iRacing rides, look no further, because their professionalism and Chris Grappis, he emphasized on that they offer enough to make you want their service for the next paint. You can also check the albums on Facebook today. They also sponsored the best appearing machines for today. We'll get to that in a little bit, but you got to remember as well, Barber Ford, one of the main sponsors as well for this evening and throughout this entire weekend. Chun, can't do it without them as well, the official sponsor of the caution flags throughout this entire evening here, Ben.
Absolutely, Barber Ford, and their representative for this weekend going to be Dustin Slider. Dustin, I want to first off thank you for all you've done with Dreamer Racing Series in Barber Ford. We'll talk about Barber Ford though first, because I got a great promotion going on, but we'll get to that here in just a minute. First of all, I gotta know how you feeling today. It's Sunday, it's the big show, and are you ready to go, or you still got little butterflies there in the stomach?
Well, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't have a little bit of butterflies, but we're confident. We got a bunch of cars, turned a bunch of laps in this. I think we'll be, I think we got the potential for a couple winning cars, and potential for everyone to finish in the top 15 if we can keep our noses clean.
Absolutely. And Dustin, let's talk about that promotion you guys have got going on at Barber Ford. If you go in and just mention Snowball Showdown, what's going to happen up there in Barber Ford of Holland?
Well, we'll give you an extra $500 towards your trade, $500 towards your travel. So if you just gotta, if you've got to make the trip up here, we'll put you up in a hotel, fly you in, what we got to do, up to $500. And then if you just rather us ship the car to you, we'll put $500 towards the transport, and that's on any new or used vehicle.
Talk about the selection you have at Barber Ford. Of course, new Ford models, the 2020 rolling out here, and talk about the used. Not all necessarily used Fords, but you guys have manufacturers across the spectrum. Whatever you're looking for, I'm sure somebody could find the right car at Barber Ford of Holland.
Oh, of course. I mean, we've got a huge selection of new Fords, and some great promotions going on. Of course, the promotions will go from your area. But on the used car side, I mean, everything from, if it's a make, we've probably got it, or we can get it. That's anything from, current year model used with teen miles, sometimes 5,000-6,000 miles on them. Back to some of the less expensive stuff, the $5,000-6,000, reliable transport,
Absolutely, and you talk about shipping cars, and that's starting to become a bigger trend than what it has in the past. Talk about the process of a lot of people, when buying a car, it's a big deal. It's a big purchase. It's almost like a house. You want it just how you prefer, and if you're picking out a car, if Barber Ford of Holland has got the car that you want, and say, just like me, I'm down in Alabama, but if I see that, if I go and check out Barber Ford on online and see that you guys have let's just say you have the 2020 Mustang that I want with all the features, you guys will ship it right to my door.
Yeah, so something I do for my customers is I'll actually tend to do. I like to do anybody outside of about 3 hours away. I like to at least do a video walk around of the car where we'll call out any kind of rock chips or bug damage, anything like that. Every little scratch that could be on the car, you'll know about before you come and get the car, or before we ship it to you. And of course, all those purchases are subject to physical inspection. We'll throw them on transport for you, and down the road it goes. I mean, was it 2 years ago we had a salesman actually ship a 2016 Focus RS in electric blue to Alaska, and that was quite the endeavor, but it was fun nonetheless, learning experience.
Awesome program you got going on at Barber Ford. Again, tell us about the Snowball Showdown promotion, and then tell us how we can get a hold of you.
Well, you can either go to barberford.net, or if you see anything on Car Gurus or TrueCar, any of the third-party sites, Auto Trader, when you're putting in your inquiry, just type in Snowball Showdown, and that'll get you your extra $500, and use it how you need to. It'll be tailored to you, ever how you need to use it, and we'll get you down the road.
There you have it, Dustin Slider of Barber Ford. Now I'm going to ask him to wipe the salesman face off, promoter face on, and let's talk about Dreamer Racing Series. We're looking forward to that coming up.
So yeah, it's sorry, Ben, I think you broke up there a little bit, but Dream Racing Series, we used to run a week-to-week series, and we'll soon to get back to that. We're just trying to tailor it to fit. We're basically, cash entry, cash payout after every race. 5-week seasons is DreamRaceSeries.com, and then the DRS Pro Series is a team-based truck series that the emphasis is on the team, how the team finishes. We do have a constructors championship, which has the biggest payout, then a drivers championship, and then usually have some per race payouts as well. And that'll probably be starting up back in May again. It's going to be about a 15-week season, 3 weekends a month, or three races a month, excuse me, that we got a little bit of off time as well.
There you have it. How can people stay up to date on the Dreamer Racing Series, and when it comes time, get ready for that 2020 season?
Well, for a lot of the iRacing races going on, we usually have a car involved. So if you go to Dreamer Racing Series on Facebook, we'll keep you updated on everything we're going on, and then some other outside sim stuff as well, and some real life racing. If you go to DRSProSeries.com, you can stay up to date as far as when dates, rulebook changes, and such will be coming out.
Good deal, Dustin. Thanks for stopping by, chatting with us, and good luck in today, and we'll see you here on the starting grid in just a little bit.
Thank you there, Ben. You have a good day. Good luck with the broadcast booth. Thanks for putting us on.
There you have it, Dustin Slider, going to be participating in the event. He's a big supporter here behind the scenes at Snowball Promotions and for the Snowball Showdown weekend right here live on the iRacing Esports Network and our Facebook page today. So glad you've tuned in. Justin, I can't emphasize enough, these sponsors, man, they're the backbone of this race.
Absolutely. You can't hold an event such as this without them. Again, though, if you want to follow along with that Dreamer Racing Series, as mentioned, they are, of course, the title sponsors for the Thursday feature with the Pro Trucks. There, if you want to get on board for the 2020 campaign, go to DRSProSeries.com and also follow them on Facebook as well for the latest news. But, of course, don't forget about iSupportSDR, who sponsored the Street Stock event, or the Sportsman's Class, I should rather say. They are a Facebook page that specializes promoting online short track racing, whether it's highlighting a dirt racer or helping promote an event like the Snowball Showdown. iSupportSDR lives for short track racing. Give them a like on Facebook today. And I was talking with Dalton Collins actually about this a little bit. He was very happy with how the week has gone so far. He actually went on as far to say, in regards to my direction, calling me the original voice of God.
There you go. That's a pretty nice compliment. And Dalton Collins does a great job behind the scenes over at iSupportSDR. I'm a big short track guy. Everybody knows that short track racing runs deep in my blood and in my DNA. And online short track racing is really a big part of my life. And if I'm trying to keep up to date with all the latest happenings, I just go and scroll through iSupportSDR. Dalton Collins keeps a great job keeping everybody up to date on what happens around the short track realm. But with that being said, all the great sponsors, we appreciate their support. Justin, it's time to give out a little bit of bling for the best appearing cars of the weekend, and we'll get those paint schemes uploaded to our Facebook page a little bit later this afternoon. We were planning to do that a little bit earlier, but we've had some mishaps and some technical difficulties we had to work through. But nonetheless, I'll run through the local divisions, and maybe if the drivers are in TeamSpeak, we'll pull them up for an interview. This first driver back on Wednesday night, he was a late entry but had a very stellar red, white, and blue number 62 in the iSupport STR Sportsman division. It's Channing Ballou going to win the best appearing car in that division. So congratulations, Channing. I don't think he's here with us today, but nonetheless, a great looking machine there, and you'll be able to see that on the on our Facebook page a little bit later this afternoon when we post all of the winner photos there. Up next, the DRS Pro Truck Series is going to go to the Christmas-themed RS Center in that 110 Silverado RS, the winner of the best appearing car in the Pro Truck Series. So RS, congrats on that, and tell us what went into that paint for the Pro Truck.
RS Center, do you have a copy, sir? And apologies there, it looks like he stepped away, Ben.
That he did. So we'll move on. That's fine. We'll keep going on up the list here. James Curle. He had a great run in the modifieds, had a great run last night in the Pro Late Models, and he is going to get the title for best appearing car in the BK Paints, or in the modifieds presented by BK Paints, and he is in our TeamSpeak. Not sure if he is going to be available, though. We'll see if we can pull him in for an interview. There he is, James Curle, going to start pretty far up in the running order today, but for Friday night's edition of the Modifieds, he's going to win the best appearing car. So James, congrats on that, and maybe tell us what went into that paint scheme.
Yeah, just our normal team paint scheme. I had Daniel Williamson whip up for us, and yeah, just nice paint that we have. Little neon colors, and he does all the work, so I'll just give credit to him.
Well, we congratulate you on that paint scheme for the Best Appearing Car Award in the Modifieds, and we wish you luck in the Super Race today. We'll talk to you a little bit later on the grid.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There you have it, James Curle winning the Best Appearing Car there in the Modifieds. Nick Fralino going to take the title, and he wins the BK Paints Best Appearing Car Award in the Pro Late Models. He had that Christmas theme number 44. Didn't have the run that he would have liked to, and hopefully he's tuned in on the broadcast today so he can hear that. So Nick, congratulations on that. And next, Justin, and you can attest this, there are some spectacular paint schemes in this super late model field today. And for those of you wondering how we decided the best appearing car, it was a pretty secret process. We didn't want anybody weighing in or having any weight put on them to vote for their specific car. 6 iRacing painters that have no affiliation with any car in the field today or any car of the weekend were assembled into a group, plus 4 fans on the real side of short track racing that were assembled by myself, and no, I did not have a vote in this, sadly. But those 10 people all voted on these cars, and they have elected for the BK Paint's best appearing car in the super late models. He's got 2 best appearing cars this weekend. That's the 110 of RS Center, winning the BK Paint's best appearing car here in the super late models in that beautiful 110. And maybe RS is here to chat with us. RS, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
There we go. He's finally back. You won I don't know if you heard it up, but you won the best appearing truck scheme. And now to start this Snowball Showdown off, you're going to win the best appearing car there in this race as well. Talk about what went through that red and white, and then you got the gold on the numbers there. Just a beautiful paint scheme, and I'm sure it was designed by Studio 10 Wraps.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. This was actually Stephen Nassie's Snowball Derby car. Um, so maybe he won the Snowball with it. He should have won the best appearing car. Maybe I can do it too.
Well, there you go. Nasty had a great looking car, and it looks great here on the sim side as well. So, RS, we congratulate you on that, and we look forward to chatting with you here on the starting grid in just a couple minutes.
All right, thank you, guys.
There you have it, RS Center picking up 2 best appearing car paints this weekend, Justin.
Indeed, some very nice looking cars throughout the weekend, but you have to think there are plenty of sparkling new cars, and it helps too that in the most recent iRacing build too here, Ben, that iRacing added something called spec maps, which allows you to add different material of the wraps, so to speak. Say you want a matte paint scheme, you can do that now. Also can have chrome on your paint schemes now on the car. Previously, you can only do that for the rims, essentially, on the machines. And that really opened up, I think, the doors for a lot of design opportunities for everyone on the grid.
That it did, and some great paint schemes available out there now, and you'll see all of them here as we run through the starting lineup. These guys they have put in so much work. We appreciate all their help. This event really it starts back a couple months, and these guys get their paint schemes ready. They've all got the Snowball Showdown windshield banners on, supporting the event and the sponsors there. It's just it's so fun to be a part of this show, and we're just a couple minutes away from that starting grid, Justin, and that's going to be one of the most exciting parts of all weekend, when we get to meet each and every one of the drivers. We get to talk to them real quick and then send them on their way to start this 356 lap main event. What a show we've got lined up for you. Real quick though, Justin, I want to announce the Snowball Promotions 20 in 20 campaign. We'll have more on this after this weekend, but we're going to go ahead and get it out right now. 20 races in 2020 put on by Snowball Promotions. That's the promoting company behind the Snowball Showdown. Of course, one of those races is going to be the Snowball Showdown. We can say that 5 of those races will be a Blizzard Series championship run here at Five Flags Speedway. So if all goes planned, Justin, maybe we can see you back for some of those races in 2020.
Absolutely, that is great to hear, and that's going to be a lot of work to put in. Can't wait to see how the 20 in 20 goes for those races. What types of cars will it be, if you don't mind me asking? Will it be a specific type or various different ones?
We're gonna mix it up a little bit. It's going to be obviously all short tracks, because that's our backbone, and we're really excited. Super late model is going to be a big part of it. The pro late models will be there. The pro trucks, the sportsmen. We might even throw a couple legend races in there as well. We'll have all the info on that again after this weekend, probably after Christmas, but be looking for that on the Snowball Showdown page. Snowball Promotions really excited to announce this, and really looking forward to 2020.
Indeed here, but we're just moments away from the driver intros here. Just a quick question to get into the psyche. In real world situations, what's going through the heads of the drivers when you go along the grid in a situation like this?
Just a lot of butterflies. You don't know what's going to happen. The world of motorsports is full of unpredictability, and that's probably the most scary thing for one of these drivers. It's not crashing, it's not catching on fire, it's not knowing what's going to happen on a racetrack. Are you going to make 356 laps? Are you going to be the champion of this race, or are you going to be sitting in the garage after lap 50? Anything can happen in this huge event. With the amount of talent we've got lined up here, it's going to be a fun one.
Indeed, as we reach 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're just about all set to go. Here's how we'll go through the grid. We'll go from the rear end of the field to the front of the field for today's action, as we go through your starting lineup for today's action and introduce the drivers. As mentioned, get a few words with each of those competitors. We'll start towards the back end of the field for tonight's action, starting with the men who will be starting on the outside of the last row in P number 34. Dustin Slider driving the Barber Ford Mustang. He'll be driving the 15 machine and starting at the tail end of the field on the outside row, Ben.
Thank you very much, Justin. And with that being said, Slider going to get the provisional here this evening. It is now time to run you through the starting lineup for the second annual Snowball Showdown, starting 34th. He is looking to make he is making his second start here in the Snowball Showdown. Holland, Michigan's Dustin Slider.
How you doing, Ben?
I think, Ben, go ahead if you're still there. I apologize, there a technical issue, but I'll get the question into you, Dustin. How are you feeling in this race? Dustin Slider, do you have a copy?
Yeah, are you there? Sorry about that.
It's okay. How are you feeling?
Oh, a little bit of butterflies here. We're in the back, so we just gotta stay out of trouble.
What's your strategy to get up to the front today?
Just follow the other Barber Ford cars, and hopefully you'll see all 5 of us running together here at the end.
Indeed, we'll let you get to the car. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Starting 33rd. He finished 7th in last year's Snowball Showdown, and with that finish, he's got himself a provisional. Driving the number 84 out of Spring Hill, Tennessee, Stephen Chun.
Standing by with him in the 84 machine, Steven, what's going through your head starting at the back end of the field in 33rd position?
Just thinking about how we're going to manage the race and keep the nose clean and be there at the end. Just do what matters.
What's the plan to keep the nose clean then?
Just save until, last little bit of the race. Just take what the race gives us and don't burn our stuff up early.
Thank you very much for the time. We'll let you get buckled up into your race car.
Yep.
Starting 32nd out of West Bend, Wisconsin, he snuck his way through the last chance race. Driver of the number 14, it is Garrett Conrath.
Standing by with Garrett Conrath right now in that Culver's machine. Had to fight very hard to get in. Garrett, how do you look to try and carry the momentum of making the show on Saturday night to today's Sunday afternoon feature?
Go fast, turn left, be consistent all race long, and avoid accidents, and hopefully get towards the front.
You seem like you're very focused. We'll let you continue to stay focused. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Starting 31st out of Taunton, Massachusetts. He also snuck his way in through the last chance race and looking forward to some success today. Driver of the 06, this is Richard Reagan Jr.
Thank you very much. Standing by with him, the 06 machine, the Toys for Tots machine, looked pretty sporty last night. What's it going to take for you to get yourself to the front today?
Yeah, we looked good last night, made some changes overnight. We just got to be there at the end, keep the nose clean. Just got to give a shout out to all you guys for watching, you guys for broadcasting, everyone at Burnt Rubber Racing, all my sponsors, and a huge shout out to Jonathan Platt being on the box for me tonight.
Good luck today, Richard.
Thank you, guys.
Starting 30th, his 10th year in iRacing competition. He is the defending DRS Pro Series driver champion out of Mammoth Springs, Arkansas. The 05 is Brandon Holder.
Brandon Holder, one of the BK Paint sponsored machines in the field today. The Arkansas driver standing by here. Brandon, you had some good speed yesterday, you and your teammates. What's it going to take to carry that speed to the feature today?
Well, we're just going to try to stay out of trouble and, let the race play out and try to be there at the end.
What's your team strategy for today?
Well, like I said, just miss all the wrecks, drive smart, and try to get up there at the front and be there when it matters at the end.
Good luck today, Brandon.
Thank you.
Starting 29th, he has already won one race this weekend, albeit the last chance race. He's a favorite for today. Driving the number 112, Devin Morgan.
Now standing by with him as he's just discussing things with his team here. Apologies for stepping in here. But you had an absolute rocket ship in the last chance race. How is the car looking in the daytime for today?
Yeah, the car's pretty good. We got a lot of drive off the corner. It just sits down real nice and gets up off the corner. But kind of got it set up, so we'll be good at the end.
Good luck today. We'll let you get back to your team for strategy.
Starting 28th, he had a big sigh of relief on BK Paint's pole night. He is the 2018 NASCAR Compact Rookie Series runner-up out of Maribel, Quebec, Canada. He is driving to 31 today. This is Frederic Ladoucière.
We'll see if we can get a word in with him. Yes, indeed, Frederick. You're looking like you were one of the drivers who had to fight tooth and nail to get into the most stressful qualifying session in your life, you said, during BK Paint's pole night. How are you feeling now that everything's settled in to try and fight for the feature win today?
I know it's a long race, so I'm going to be patient, and I hope I'm going to finish this race in the top 15.
Good luck today. We'll see if you can get your goal.
Starting 27th, a NASCAR Ignite Series driver based out of Manchester, Tennessee, driving at number 19. This is Briar LaPrade.
Yes, it's checking in with him right now. Briar, lots of pressure for today towards the back end of the field for you. What do you try and plan to do to get yourself to the front in your JDR graphics machine? Briar LaPrade, do you have a copy, sir? And apologies there. Looks like Briar LaPrade may have stepped aside here, Ben.
Moving on, starting 26th, the DRS Pro Series driver champion runner-up out of Atlanta, Georgia, driving the number 8. This is Ryan Campbell.
Standing by with him now in his number 8 machine, and you looked like you were one of the contenders at some points in some of the events today. How do you look to carry the momentum to today's feature after what has happened in the week?
To be honest, it was a great weekend. Had a lot of fun. This isn't my normal style of racing, but after yesterday's event, getting up there towards the front on a good strategy call and coming home 5th gave me a lot of confidence for today. So I'm looking forward to the race.
What's your team strategy looking like, if you don't mind me asking?
Take your time, be patient. This is a long race. You just gotta drive easy, be mindful of what's going on around you. Take your time, work your way up through the field, and just be ready to go when it's time to go.
Good luck today, Ryan.
Thank you. I'd like to give a quick shout out to everybody at Glovebox Motorsports and especially BK Paints for giving me a seat in this. And thanks to everybody for their help.
Starting 25th, he is a 2020 NASCAR Drive for Diversity driver. In 2019, he has 56 official wins and 230 top 5s on the iRacing service out of Washington, D.C. and the number 13, Raja Karuth.
Yes, indeed, and he's someone that could be a rising star in the early 2020s. Raja, how are you feeling entering today's Snowball Showdown?
I'm feeling pretty good. Hope you guys are doing good today. Car is good. Discovered something literally the last 5 minutes of practice yesterday, so I'm feeling pretty good.
What did you discover, if you don't mind me asking?
Just some little things on not only my line, but just some different things in terms of... I can't give that out, man.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a question you have to ask eventually, though. But
right.
Keep your secrets, but good luck today.
Appreciate it. Hope y'all have a good show.
Will do.
Starting 24th, he finished top 10 in the Pro Late Model and Super Late Model events at SimFest earlier this year, driving the number 70 today out of Lakeland, Florida, Dylan Canova.
Yes, indeed. With him right now, one of the ALD racing machines. How are you feeling entering today's action?
Not too bad. Not a big fan starting mid-pack, but we'll see how it goes.
What's it going to take to get your 4-paws only machine to the front?
A lot of patience. I think keeping up with the track and staying out of any issues that might occur is going to be key. Keeping the body straight on the car, being there at the end.
Good luck today on keeping the body straight.
Thank you.
Starting 23rd, he has had a fast machine all weekend long in the events that he's participated in. Out of New England, it's the number 4 of Tyler Cox.
Yes, indeed. Standing by with Tyler Cox right now in the broadcast booth, driving the Ford machine. Tyler, you and your teammate Ryan Kuhn have been looking very sporty throughout the weekend. What's it going to take for you to be able to come up in front for the checker flag?
We just got to keep the nose clean. It's a long race, 356 laps. Me and Ryan knew we weren't going to be very good in qualifying, and I kind of botched my lap a little bit. So we just got to keep the nose clean and be there at the end. I'm sure we're going to have a couple of wrecks that'll take out a few guys in front of us. So hopefully we can get this Everett's Auto Parts, Signworks, Signworks in New England, and Bernie's Liquors machine up front.
We'll see how you do today. Good luck today for you in that car.
Yep, thank you.
Starting 22nd, the driver out of Richmond, Virginia. In the number 27 this afternoon, Parker Brookfield.
Yes, indeed. In the USA Firearms and Dutchy Designs machine, Parker, what's going through your head right now with that 27 machine as you're starting right in the middle of the Hornet's Nest?
Just trying to keep calm. You know, we got a long race, got a long way to go. It's just about keeping it clean early on. Didn't have the best qualifying attempts, but we have a really good race piece, so we're just going to try to mind our time here and slowly make our way through the field.
Indeed. We'll see how you do today. Good luck.
Thank you.
Starting 21st, he is a real-world super late model driver with 300 wins in quarter midgets, bandoleros, and legends to his name. The newlywed out of Marietta, Georgia, driving the number 19 this afternoon. This is Kaysen Plott.
Thank you very much. And Kaysen has been very sporty in all of his events so far. Across the iRacing service to unofficial events, what's going through your head, Kaysen, as you try and take the skills from the real world to the virtual world to try and get to victory lane?
Well, so far it hadn't been the best of luck trying to, make real life work on here, but I think we got a good piece going, and just got to be patient, keep the nose clean, and be there at the end.
What's it going to take for you to try and get up towards the front?
Definitely a lot of patience, and you gotta keep the drive and everything up off the corner. So we'll adjust that throughout the race, and hopefully we'll be there at the end. And gotta thank all the BRR guys, and for the setup. We'll just hope to be there at the end.
Good luck today, Kaysen. We'll get you back to your team. Good luck on the racetrack as well.
Thank you.
Starting 20th, he is the 2011 DeSoto Speedway Modified Champion and finished top 10 in the 2013 NASCAR NOH Battle at the Beach at Daytona out of Oldsmar, Florida. Driving to number 48, this is Dalton Baldwin.
Thank you very much, Dalton Baldwin. Again, you're in that mix inside the Hornets' Nets as well today. How does your car feel for the daytime this afternoon?
It feels pretty good. It's definitely going to be slick. Kind of hoping temperature cools down a lot more, especially as the race goes on, and I think that'll help my car a lot. But I still think that we got a lot of speed. I think I had more speed in qualifying than I showed. I just wanted to make sure that we got a good time in and got in the show, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an interesting race.
Should be an interesting one indeed. We'll let you get ready to go.
Starting 19th, the 16-year-old out of Derry, New Hampshire, driving the Patriot Media and Marketing Super Late Model in the number 03. This is Chris Canfield.
Yes, indeed, catching up with Chris Canfield right now, and you had a good qualified lap in your Patriot machine. How do you look to try and carry that Q speed to the daytime today, this afternoon? Chris, we apologize. I believe we have a technical issue. We cannot hear a word you were saying. Apologies there. Try one more time, sir. And then we apologize there. Looks like Chris Canfield having a technical issue with his equipment. We'll let you get back over to Ben.
You hear me?
Oh, yes, we can. Pardon me there, Chris. Let's ask the question once again. How are you going to try and carry that speed from qualifying to get to the mid-pack, to get to the front of the field today and this afternoon on a very hot racetrack?
I think the key here is going to be patience. Long race, can't do any moves that are going to get you in trouble early. And, yeah, just keep the nose on it, and you should be there at the end.
Let you get back to the FSM teammates. Good luck today.
Thank you, sir.
Starting 18th, the oldest driver in the field at 56 years young. He is a former Florida late model driver that raced alongside Jody Ridley, Harry Gant, Joe Nemechek, and many more in the NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series. He calls Pensacola home but resides today in Derby, Kansas. Driver of that Jody Ridley throwback number 98, this is Jerry Glenn.
Thank you very much. And Jerry Glenn having a beautiful paint scheme, a bit of a throwback, in fact. How do you look to try and perform today? Because it was a rough one last night of the Pro Late Models.
Yeah, to say the least. It was a little rough one last night, but we're going to try to rebound today. And my goal's already achieved by just making this race. You've done something. There's a lot of good drivers here, so we're just going to try to keep the nose clean. Have some tires at the end, and be there and see what happens.
Real quick question. We mentioned a bit of your experience, especially in the NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series. Many drivers may not know that about you. Talk real quickly about that experience and how that's helped you in the service.
Well, that experience was a long time ago. I'm a little bit older in age. I'm 56, so it's been several years ago. This sim is pretty realistic, which is amazing. But just being able to run the short tracks and the late models, I love the short tracks, so that experience certainly helps here, and we're going to try to put it to use today.
Good luck today, Jerry.
Thank you.
Starting 17th, the driver with a 4,300 plus I rating. When we last checked it, the 32-year-old out of Reading, Pennsylvania, driving a 33 today. This is Tejan Dank.
Thank you so much. Right now, Tejan, how are you feeling right now? Because you're just at the cusp of the top 10 already in the field.
Feeling pretty good. Just need to be patient going through the field. Just got to keep it easy in the beginning and make sure that still around at the end.
Indeed, you mentioned trying to get there to the end. What's it going to take, though, to be able to be there in your Dank Sim Motorsports machine?
A lot of patience, easy on the throttle going off the corners with how hot the track is, and then just make sure that the adjustments are there as the track cools off.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Starting 16th out of Dartmouth, Massachusetts, is a former Legends champion on the real side of things and the defending runner-up in the Thompson Speedway Late Model Championship. The number 03 machine is Derek Gluchecki.
Yes, indeed, and he looks to glue himself towards the front into victory lane today. Made that good run, too, to get up to the front on just one lap. How's your car looking, though, to go take 356 circuits around the track in the daytime?
I think we got a good car here. Just have to keep the nose clean, get up front when we can, try and stay there. Just hopefully be consistent all day.
Indeed. Good luck today. We'll let you get back to your race car.
Thank you, guys.
Starting 15th with a great qualifying effort out of Ellsworth, Maine. He is looking forward to the show today. And at number 45, this is Justin Tremblay.
And Justin looking to make everyone tremble towards the front of the field. What's it going to take for you to park your 45 machine into victory lane in the Snowball Showdown?
Somehow or another, we're going to have to keep the nose clean and survive.
That's been the consistent theme throughout the entire field. What's your strategy to try and pass the drivers in front of you?
Just if I get a chance to go by somebody, I will. And I never push the issue, so we'll take what's given to us.
Good luck today, Justin.
Thank you, bud.
Starting 14th out of Plant City, Florida, he is the 2018 pole sitter for the Snowball Showdown, the defending SimFest 200 champion and the defending Copperhead 250 champion in late model esports competition, and the defending Sarah Fall Brawl Spectacular champion here at the Five Flag Speedway, driving the 67 today, Colin Allman.
He's driving that very special Holly Jolly Christmas machine as well. The French Stretch Mafia driver standing by with me now for you, Colin. It came very close last year. What's it going to take to try and get the job done this year in this year's feature?
Track specification is going to be huge. Got to be patiently aggressive getting to the front. Obviously, it's 356 laps, so we got to take our time, not make any super aggressive moves, and hopefully we'll have a little bit better track position at the end than we did last year.
Indeed, we'll let you get back to your team. Good luck today.
All right, thank you, guys.
Starting 13th out of Portage, Michigan, the NASCAR Truck Series driver with 2 ARCA poles to his name, a former Berlin Raceway track champion, and he just missed the real-life Snowball Derby this past weekend, driving that number 14 machine, not the 14 machine.
I believe
Nonetheless,
he is-
though,
yeah.
Carson Hocevar.
Yes, indeed. Believe he's actually, from what I can tell, not able to make today's event, but he's someone that reminds you who is big in the short track scene on the service bin. Unfortunately, I'm not able to attend today's event from my understanding.
So a big disappointment there. Moving on up the field, though, starting in the 12th starting position, he is the pole sitter for the Real World 2019 Oxford 250. He also has a 2018 Seekonk Speedway Late Model Championship. 2 is week. The 72 is Ryan Kuhn.
It's been a stellar week for you, Ryan. Now coming into the big show, though, for the biggest money of the entire weekend. What's it going to take for you to park that 72 in victory lane for the $600 top prize?
Patience, track position. We can't really be aggressive early. Kind of got to save the stuff till around 200, and I think a little bit of pit strategy is going to come into play, like you saw in the modified race. But yeah, and it's going to be tough. Got some really good drivers in this field, and anything from here is a plus.
Indeed here. How difficult do you think it will be to pass? Some drivers expecting the use of some of the bumper, others being patient.
Some drivers you can kind of get to use the dirty work for, and so I don't know, some drivers out there, they'll do the dirty work for you and follow them through the hole and see if we can get to the front light way.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Starting 11th, the 2018 Lobster Bowl champion and the defending eNASCAR Ignite Series champion out of Pittsfield, Maine, driver of that number 39 machine. This is Max Cookson.
And he looks to cook up a W tonight. He was able to drive his pro late model machine with a ton of damage to a top 4 finish. Now he looks to keep the car clean today. Max, how are you feeling in that race car?
Yeah, I'm feeling all right. Rolling off 11th. I mean, that's a pretty good spot to be starting this thing off. Going to be a long race, a lot of laps. Just going to have to keep the car clean and try to be there to do something at the end.
What have you been doing in your head to help prepare for today to keep yourself focused on the track ahead?
I mean, you're just gonna have to be patient. It's such a long race. You know, everyone in here is good. There's no slouches in here. It's gonna be a long race. Gonna need to keep all the fenders on it and just run a clean race.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
And now for the top 10 starting field for the Snowball Showdown, starting 10th. He is the 2018 Tobacco-Free Florida 227 champion, the defending Simfest champion in both the Pro and Super Late models, and he finished 5th this year at the NASCAR Antifreeze Series out of Midland, North Carolina, driving the number 40. This is Jimmy Mullis.
And he's got a very special Christmas paint scheme that looks pretty slick, have to be honest here. But Jimmy had some very bad luck in the Pro Late Model race. Trying to get yourself back to the momentum side, though, today. What's going through your mind here as you get ready to roll off in the top 10?
You know, we just have a really long race today, so it's going to be about attrition and just, you know, trying to keep the nose clean and be there at the end. So looking forward to getting this thing going.
Indeed here. What's it going to take for you to be the man who parks it in victory lane?
Well, you know, you just got to be up front at the end. I think we have a car capable of doing that. It's just going to take some luck and got to take tires at the right time and, you know, just see how it plays out.
Good luck today. We'll let you get buckled into your race car.
Thanks, buddy.
Starting 9th. He is in the number 9. Hopefully that's some good voodoo for this driver out of New England. Looking to go to the front early on. It is Ryan Blanchard.
He's now inside row number 5. And Ryan, you look to try and have a teammate behind you, but a lot of cars that are hungry for victory in front of you. What's going through your mind as you look to start towards the front?
It's a long race. I'm just hoping to hold on to the car early, see what our track bars are doing. We made a special change going into the race, and we're just going to hope it hangs on for the long run.
Indeed, here we'll let you get prepared now with the rest of your team. So a lot of prep to go just a few minutes before grid.
Starting 8th, the 2018 eNASCAR Ignite Series champion, the defending iRacing Winter Derby champion, and the defending eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series champion out of Clinton, Connecticut, driving the number 6, Zach Novak.
Yes, indeed. Standing by with him, he's a part of the bad luck train, unfortunately, in the outside wall of Turn 3 in the Pro Late Models, but is looking to cap off a stellar 2018-19 campaign in the past year or so. Zach, what's it going to take for you to park your Ford Mustang in victory lane today?
Well, first off, we got to make it past lap 30, and I feel like we got a really good car, so if we can make it past there, I think we'll have a shot at this thing. And like Jimmy said, we just got to take tires at the right time, not get damage on the car, and I think we'll be there at the end.
I agree with you on that one. Keeping the car clean, going to be very important today, especially with the sunshine. Good luck today.
Thanks, buddy.
Starting 7th, he is a real-world late model driver with wins at Montgomery Motor Speedway and right here at Five Flag Speedway. He won the best appearing car in 2 divisions, including the super late model Oakwood, Georgia's, where he calls home for the 110 of RS Center.
Yes, indeed. And that leads to the first question. You mentioned the real-world experience with wins here. RS, how does the track feel, in your opinion, compared to real life? And how much did that help you prepare for today's race?
I'm sure it's somewhat similar, but it's hot today. It's not hot in December down there, so just have to see what happens.
Indeed. What's the strategy for today to get yourself into victory lane?
Just go as hard as you can the whole time.
Go indeed. Go into your car. We'll let you get buckled up and in.
Starting 6th, he is a Sarah Contenders Series winner with over 200 official iRacing wins to his name, the 2019 Pro Late Model Rookie of the Year at Lebanon I-44 Speedway. He calls Fairgrove, Missouri home for the number 1 of Dylan Bates.
Thank you once again, Dylan Bates in the 09 Motorsports sponsor machine, that red number 1. What's going through your head right now today? Because you're right now in the midst of a lot of talent, including yourself. What's it going to take to beat that talent?
Yeah, man, we're right up here in the mix. I just got to keep my nose clean, these early stages of this race. It's going to get rough and tumble. I mean, you know how these races go, so you just got to keep your nose clean, stay there, and be up there at the end. And play your pit strategy right is a big thing as well.
Both of those key points have been said all across pit lane from top to bottom. Good luck today.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate all you're doing.
And now for the top 5 for the second annual Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery. Starting 5th, inside of row number 3. He is a 2019 Sarah World Series champion, an 8-time Sarah race winner out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, for the number 23 of Dallas Pataska.
With him right now, that 23 machine has shown about top 5, top 10 speed in every single event he's been a part of. Dallas, what's it going to take to turn that top 5 speed into winning speed today?
Well, I'm most confident in this car, so I think I have a good chance tonight. The main goal is survival. I'd like to be in the top 10 when it comes down to lap 300 or so, and we'll see where we are when we get there. So,
how much work did your team put in for this type of a race today?
Well, this is probably my 30th or 35th, somewhere in there, iteration of the setup. So, a lot of hours, probably 3,000-4,000 laps in the last couple months. So, a lot of preparation.
Good luck today, man. We'll see how you do.
Thanks, guys.
Starting 4th, he has a plethora of feature wins at his local track, and they call him the Catfish up in International Falls, Minnesota. The 16-year-old driving a 63, Jake Frumke.
Yes, absolutely. The Catfish starting outside row number 2, that 63 machine. Looking pretty sporty with that blue shiny paint scheme. But Jake, what's your strategy for today's race? Because you're already up at the front.
Yeah, track position is going to be key. I think I'll just stay ahead of all the mess in the back and stay out of everybody else's problems and just make the right decision on pit road Just be fast.
We'll see if you can be fast today. Good luck today. It should be an interesting one.
Thanks. Gotta give a quick shout out to Jake Griffin. He's been a huge help. Help me with the setup and give me a bunch of advice when he can. And, I haven't set up a asphalt car until 4 weeks ago, so pretty cool to be here.
Starting third, he is the second highest high rating on the oval with over 1,000 official iRacing wins to his name. A 12-time SK Modified Series champion, 6-time late model champion, 3-time Tour Modified champion, and a Super Late Model champion on the service, finishing runner-up in last night's tobacco-free 227 out of Williston, Georgia, a 151. James Curle.
And you had a stellar dogfight throughout that entire race with Alex Mccollum, especially up to the finish. You seemed a bit disappointed, but now how do you look to take that disappointment and use it to fuel your motivation to try and push for a victory today?
Yeah, just got to keep pushing. Last night was unfortunate just knowing that we had the car to win, but we just got to keep going today. The weather a little hotter, so hopefully we got the car dialed in for it, and keeping the car up front and just staying out of the wrecks in the back going to be big for us as well as pit strategy.
Agree with you on that one. We'll let you get to your team to prepare for today's race. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
And now the front row for the second annual Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery. This driver, a former starting second, a former Pro Series driver on iRacing, a 2-time Langley Speedway track champion on the real side of things, out of Newport News, Virginia. In the number 80 machine, Jacob Herbert.
Yes, absolutely. He's looking to have a stellar race today, and you've got a stellar team that has helped you get the speed to get up to the front. What is your plan to try and take this victory? Because you're already up at the front, as I said, to the 63. What's it going to take to stay up here?
My main concern really is just track position. It's a long race, and with the pit stops that we have to take during this race, it really just comes down to the end of pitting at the right time and keeping that track position there at the end. You know, you kind of want to be up in the first 5 or 6 cars when it comes to 80, 70 laps to go, so you have a shot at the end. So that's really my main plan for today.
Indeed, we'll see how you do with that plan today. Good luck.
Thank you.
And on the BK Paints pole for the Snowball Showdown, he is the newly crowned champion of the DRS Pro Series 150 in the trucks, and he finished on point last night in the tobacco-free Florida 227, renaming the event next year to the tobacco-free Florida 210. He hopes that next year's Snowball Showdown is 310 laps as well. Out of Phillipsburg, New Jersey, the number 10 is Alex McCollum.
Absolutely standing by with him right now. It's been a stellar week for you. 2 out of 4 of the events have gone to your direction. What's it going to take for you to make it a 3 out of 5?
Oh, it's going to be patience. A lot of fast guys here. Going to have to keep the nose clean. Long race. Feel like I have a really good piece under me. Worked on it last night. Should be a pretty good race.
Absolutely. How would you describe how this car handles in the daytime for you to hold on?
I was working on it really hard last night. I think I got it pretty good. Seems like track's going down right now, but at the end the car should be working really well.
Indeed. Good luck today, Alex. Should be a stellar one.
Thank you.
And we congratulate Alex on the BK Paints Pole Award here for the second annual Snowball Showdown. But now, on behalf of Murder Creek Distillery and all of us here at the Snowball Showdown, we welcome you to Pensacola. We welcome you to the second annual Snowball Showdown. Drivers, start your engines! 34 of the world's top sim racing drivers roar to life here at the Five Flag Speedway. And Justin, here we go. The second annual Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery, just moments away.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be very fun to see who can come home with that top prize here in today's race. And before they get behind the pace car, let's once again remind you today's race presented by Murder Creek Distillery, located in Brewton, Alabama, and serving the Panhandle of Florida. Murder Creek Distillery specializes in a variety of moonshine flavors. If you're on the Panhandle, check out your local liquor store for Murder Creek products today. Check them out online as well for more info so you can see how to get their products shipped to your door. But the drivers now ready to line up behind the pace car now and get ready to go racing here. Ben, your keys to victory today.
Patience, 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 patience. Can I say it anymore? 356 laps. Patience is going to win this Snowball Showdown today.
What else is also going to get you the victory here today?
I think we've seen it all weekend long, especially starting with the modifieds and into the pro late models last night. Tire strategy. Who gets the tires at the right time? Who grabs those and who plays the cards right and who has the fresh rubber at the end of this thing.
To remind everyone who may have missed at the start of the broadcast, as discussed, just 8 total tires in the pit lane. That is 2 sets total for today's race, which could really mix things up. And drivers tried the 2-tire strategy, Ben, last evening in the pro late models. Didn't work too well in some cases.
Didn't at all. It made the car really loose and a handful to drive, so we'll keep an eye on that today. And maybe right side tires you can get away with, but if you throw the lefts on there, it may get a little hairy as the field begins to roll off. 356 laps today. And one other notable, if we get 80 green flag laps in one stint, we will have a competition caution. The track is warm today. It's a warm, sunny day here in Pensacola, and we're just moments away from the green flag.
Absolutely, it's going to be intense. It's going to be interesting to see who can come home with the W today. Coming to the 1-to-go signal, this time by the front stretch with McCollum and Harberts in control of your 2019 Snowball Showdown field, the second annual running, Ben.
This is the moment we have all been waiting for all weekend long. The butterflies have turned to pterodactyls. Last year, the first chapter was written by Brandon Wilkinson, who is going to write their name in the history books as winner of the second annual Snowball Showdown. 34 of the world's top super late model online drivers have gathered at the virtual Five Flag Speedway, and only one will be champion at the end of the Snowball Showdown.
Green flag is out. We're underway from Five Flag Speedway, and a great start by McCollum as he's already to the bottom side. The fight's on for second. James Curle side by side with their outside pole sitter as the 80 tries to ride the middle high line.
McCollum going to get it out to an early lead. He's going to look back in his rearview mirror and say, go ahead, guys, battle it out. I'm just going to get up here and ride for the first 300 or so laps. A good battle for that second position, though, as they race to the back straightaway. Harbert's on the outside of Curle on the inside.
Still stuck side by side. They're going 3 wide in some segments. The 63 of Fromke already falling outside the top 10. Harbert's, though, trying to defend hard on the outside. The difference between them and the leaders, though, with how much they're fighting, 0.2 of a second last time by.
What a great battle they're putting on, really showing that second line may be a good line to have here today at Five Flag Speedway and into the afternoon. But doing so, Justin, they are just losing a ton of time to leader Alex Mccollum.
Already a second grown by McCollum here. Curle still can't get the run on the bottom side. Now Dallas Pataska tries to get the side draft down the front straightaway. Already onto lap 5. There goes the 80. Dropping out to third and making a 4th position as Curle finally gets single file.
Maybe Harbert's starting to just fall back and trying to find a hole in line to get into to ride these first couple laps. I don't think he wanted to be battling side by side in the first 10 laps of this race, but he has to do it to try and keep that oh so important track position, which will come into play a little bit later in this race. 6 down, 350 to go.
Still a ways to go here. Pataska is through. Bates is now through. But this is something we've seen in all the events. If you don't get to the bottom like the 80 finally just did, you will have a revolving door. That has led to Harbert's falling all the way back to P number 6 right in front of Max Cookson.
That it is, and it worked for the first couple laps there, but you saw once the tires started to get a little bit of heat built up in them, he really started to fall back quickly, and Harberts finds a hole in line and sits comfortably now in that 6th position as everybody pretty much single file for the top 10, really the whole field, everybody just getting into a nice rhythm.
Yeah, and that's what was said by a lot of the drivers on the starting grid. There's a long ways to go. They don't want to put themselves in trouble here because if you get damaged, that can take you out of contention.
Jerry Glenn goes around. Glenn around in the 98, and they're piling up over in turn number 4. Rajah Caruth on top of multiple cars.
First Barber Ford caution flag of the afternoon. And as you said, a massive one. Brian LaPrade also involved. And we'll have to take a few different angles here with the LSR TV replay as it looks like Glenn got loose, then got some help from behind on the exit of turn 4.
And he did, and it looks like maybe Brookfield was the initial helper of that. And the 27 got to the bumper of Glenn, turned him around, and right off turn 4, such a tight spot on the racetrack. It has involved many good race cars, including Rajah Caruth up on top of that 98 machine.
Stacked up at least 5, 6+ drivers with damage in this one. And the interesting thing of all of that is Rajah Caruth sitting on top of some of the drivers there being involved. Brookfield, though, getting the end of longest line penalty. He'll go to the rear of the field as a result. But under the first Barber Ford caution flag on lap number 12 here, everyone seemed to be preferring the bottom side before that.
Absolutely, and certainly we were. The drivers were warned about this in the drivers' meeting. They said we're not going to make a joke out of this race. They're not going to ride under caution in this race. We're going to have some green flag racing, and I'm sure Brookfield getting the eyes from race director Robert Barber right now for causing this first caution after we were just getting settled and starting to get a nice rhythm going.
And with Jerry Glenn, it looks like his car for the most part might be okay for much of this race if it can keep it clean. The problem is, he does have a massive dent on the right rear, right where the tire is at. Curious to see how that's going to affect his drive the rest of the day.
Yeah, where that damage is, it kind of worries me that the rear end may be knocked out of alignment for the Jody Ridley throwback and the former NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series driver Jerry Glenn out of Derby, Kansas. But you know, hopefully it's still straight. Hopefully he's able to get that damage repaired under one of these pit stops. He currently sits 33rd right now, the final car on the racetrack and the only car one lap down. And he just barely is one lap down as McCollum was able to get by him there before he got going after that caution.
Once the air drivers involved, Dalton Baldwin just finishing up repairs down the pit lane. Other drivers coming off the lane. 2 to go signal, though, for the drivers here. What do you think's now going through McCollum's head here? Because now they'll restart and restack the field once again with Curle now to the top.
Yeah, I think McCollum, he's just going to do what he did on the first one. They're trying to get out into that clean air, which we have seen so crucial so far this weekend here at Five Flag Speedway, just like on the real side of things, clean air crucial here on the simulator side of things as well. And McCollum going to try and do that. And I think if McCollum can get out in front here and pace this field, that's where he's going to be most comfortable.
Absolutely agree with you. And clean air especially has been even more and more of a factor for all the teams across iRacing in 2019 as the builds have progressed. But McCollum looks to try and take advantage of that clean air now as they approach the DRS restart zone for the first restart of the afternoon. McCollum in the NX Racing Toyota Supra onto the gas pedal. Green flags back out. We're racing once again from Florida.
And another good restart for McCollum as he'll lead the battle for second down into turn number 1. Not a big jump there from McCollum, but that battle for the runner-up spot going to go on as Pataska going to clear the 151. Looks like Curle going to give him the position. Sideways goes Max Cookson.
And Cookson able to save it. Rest of the field checks up 3 wide, a couple rows behind him. That could have been near disaster as they're still 3 wide at the edge of the top 10.
That was Ryan Kuhn in the mix of that 3 wide situation with Fromke and Trombley on either side of that number 72 machine. They get it sorted out. We continue to stay green, but a close call there for the defending Ignite Series champion in Max Cookson.
Absolutely right now, but it looks like the majority of the top 7 have gone in single file. The first side-by-side will stop because the Barber Ford caution is out. Trombley was able to save it, but he went a full 45 degrees after getting hit from behind by Fromke to bring out the second Barber Ford caution.
So the second Barber Ford caution of the night. Trombley gets it going again, and Tyler Cox just, boy, not having a good run. He gets involved in another one there as the front end of that 4 machine all battered here early in the going.
Yeah, his Toyota Camry machine going to have to deal with a lot of aerodynamic damage. And from what you've seen in real life, how much does that affect the drivers, do you think? Because he hit the back end of Fromke in that incident to cause that situation here. How is that going to end up being is going to be the main question for these drivers. Still ways to go. 20 laps down this time by for the leaders. McCollum, Pataska, Curle, Bates in center, your top 5 at the moment for today's action here for the second annual Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery. Drivers being stressed now by race control. It is a 356 laps to please keep calm, cool, and collected as this race continues on. But right now, your biggest movers, Devin Morgan, up plus 12. He's in 16th in the 112, plus 11 for Conrad and Chun, as well as plus 9 for Dustin Slider, as well as plus 7 for Colin Allman. A lot of drivers already making their way towards the front here, Ben.
That they are, and you know, that's what we talked about earlier in the pre-race show. Some of the guys that started at the back are going to try and get their way to the front quick as possible, but try and do it as cleanly as possible. And, you know, Colin Allman, probably one of the biggest movers in the toughest competition, up 7 from 13 to 6. Remember, he set the pole last year for this event, and if you recall on BK Paint's pole night, he probably had a pole run, but the car got jacked completely sideways off turn 4, was still able to put down a time good enough for 13th.
Yeah, and now he's up in the 6th position here, but he'll drop on the outside. The thing is, though, the 80's probably thinking, my goodness, I'm finally on the bottom. Harbert's had dropped like a rock every time. He started up on the top side and was letting cars go to get to the inside prior to the Barber Ford caution flag.
That he was, and Harbert's, like you mentioned, starting inside this time, and hopefully that luck will change for him, and maybe he can trap some guys up on the outside as we turn the lights off on the pace car.
Indeed. In fact, the lights are still on top of the pace car for the time being. Fromke, by the way, into longest line penalty for the bump and run, as McCollum is in the lead still, to remind you. Pataska is still in second, with Curle and Bates inside the top 4. RS Center in 5th. Allman, Harbert, Cookson, Novak, and Mullis round out your top 10 positions here. You're curious to see how Novak and Mullis do when we go back to racing as we're underway here from Five Flags.
Good restart again for McCollum. Pataska gets a good jumper. Curle, single file for the top 3, and here comes RS Center looking to get to the inside of Bates. Some contact there. Bates goes airborne over in 3 and 4, keeps the car straight, and we stay green.
And that got nearly dicey, and it's still going to be potentially dicey. Novak sliding up the racetrack side by side with Bates. That is for 6th position. Both of them charge the corner hard. Allman and the rest of the company also still trying to find a way to get on by as they wait to see how that battle develops.
Good battle there for that 6th position. Give it to Novak to the back straightaway as Bates starts to slip back a little bit more. Allman now going to stick his nose in there, and that 67 machine off of turn 4. We'll go side by side now for P7. If it debates there at the line, Allman, though, with immense pressure on the inside.
And now Bates is probably thinking, I got to get myself to the bottom now, too, because there is a long conga line of cars, about 6 or 7 deep. Make it now up to 12 drivers deep. And if they can't find a way to the bottom of some of these machines, they might not be at the front anymore for very long.
That's certainly true, and Bates really doesn't have a hole. He may have a quick one behind Max Cookson, but he's trying his best to battle outside of Colin Allman, trying to maybe make Allman slip up on the inside to get back to the in front of that 67 machine, but not going to happen. Off 2, Allman going to clear the 1 machine. Now here comes Mullis. Bates trying to slide in, but not going to be there. Mullis back on the inside of that number 40 machine.
Mullis, 5th place finisher in last year's Peak Championship in the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series. Not going to be too patient. Wants to keep the car clean, yes, but you don't want to be stuck side by side and burn up your equipment, Ben, for 15, 20 laps straight.
That's certainly true. Mullis, one of those drivers that was taken out in a big crash in turn 3 and 4 early on in last night's tobacco-free Florida 227. He is doing everything he can to make sure that doesn't happen here tonight. He wants a Snowball Showdown championship under his belt. And just in front of those guys, here comes Jacob Harbert starting to look to the inside of RS Center. That'll be a battle for P4.
Center trying to go up the hill, gets back to single file. Trying to follow him on the high side is Novak. Novak now trapped up high. He squishes the 80 machine on down off of turn 4 as they try and get a drag race in the corner. Novak trying to be the first driver today to make the high side work. And if you can get it to work, you're able to get a bit more of a run down the straightaways. That's how hard it's been to try and pass the bottom. Novak, the first driver to complete a pass on the top. Allman wanting to fall too.
Novak going to do it. Allman right there behind in the tire tracks, and it looks like he's going to make it work as well as he's right there on the outside. No, there's contact. Allman goes sideways.
And Mullis gets hit from behind by Cookson. Everyone saves it. We stay green on the circuit, 35 laps down. And that could have been a big one, but Mullis now with a bit of damage. Cookson also had to deal with a little bit of contact on his front end with all of that stacking up.
Close quarter racing and a lot of nervousness within this top 10. Maybe too early for some of these moves that we're seeing here on the racetrack.
Possibly right now with still 320 laps to go. But you got to keep an eye on Zach Novak. It's just a +3, yes, but he's the only driver trying a different line. Everybody else has been using the bottom to get a clean line and clean amount of air. He's using that to get runs down the straightaways, it seems. And if he isn't going to get that run, has been trying to diamond it down the bottom of the racetrack. Novak getting to the inside now for 4th position on Center. Will Center give him the spot? No, he's going to fight it. Novak tries to squish him up, while Center tries to squish him back down. Along the white line goes the number 6 of Novak as he tries to drive around. They'll catch up to Curle, who got loose off of turn 4 himself in the 151. Still intense driving amongst these drivers for P number 4. Novak charges hard at the bottom, gets inside for the position. Center dives his way back to the bottom line for P number 5. So keep an eye on Novak and keep an eye as well with the lead because McCollum and Pataska separated by just half a car length up at the front with a charging Novak still in 4th.
Novak on the move for sure in that number 6 machine. He's up half the positions from where he started. Didn't have the qualifying run that he wanted, and he said that. But now making that race pace, the winning machine here, possibly in that number 6 machine. Still a long way to go. Over 300 laps left to decide a champion here in the 2019 version of the Snowball Showdown. Novak, though, closing on Curle. Up front, Pataska trying to... Colin, boy, what a turnaround for Pataska.
An absolute turnaround, and a Barber Ford caution is brought out. A car got turned around in turn 4 exit. It's Chris Canfield in the 03 machine. 3rd Barber Ford caution, this time contact from Brian LaPrade has kept the door open, Ben.
Yeah, it looks like Breyer looked to the inside. There just wasn't quite enough room. Hit those bumps at the bottom of 3 and 4. Gets into Canfield and around. Didn't go completely around, but was able to get it stopped. No other cars involved. That's the good thing there, putting us under the Barber Ford caution for the 3rd time tonight.
And that was our longest run so far. And we've seen a massive amount of fall-off, mind you, Ben, during that said stint. Up to about 0.5 of a second already falling off these tires on these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Track temperature up to 97 degrees. It started around 89, I do believe, when we took the green flag. So as these cars continue to pace around the Five Flag Speedway at high rates of speed, that track temperature climbing and climbing and climbing, and it's really interesting to see, as the course's run goes on, how hot that track's going to get. Again, this is something these drivers haven't seen all weekend. That sun beating down on the racetrack. It's been cloudy. It's been overcast. It's been a dreary weekend here in Pensacola. In real world Pensacola, it's been raining all weekend. So here on the sim, it's been cloudy. It's been cold. It's 71 degrees with a track temperature of now 96. It's cooled down just a little bit. Nonetheless, though, it's a hot, slick racetrack for these super late models, and they're doing their best to hold on.
Yeah, indeed. And I've been surprised how much Novak's been able to get the high side to work. We've seen it work for a few drivers this week, Ben, but the bottom's been the predominantly preferred one to get a pass done. He's been able to use that top line to set up the passes by staying one lane up, getting away from some of the air of the driver in front, and then be able to launch it off the corner. It's kind of been working for the 6 of Novak.
Yeah, it has, and most of the high side, quote, passes that we've seen all weekend long have just been defensive moves. They've been able to defend off a challenge, but not today. Novak has drove up and passed a couple of cars on the outside, which is something we haven't seen all weekend long, and if you've got a car that good, well then watch out, guys, because Novak, he may just have the race-winning setup under that number 6 machine.
But there's a downside, though, to running that high up on the racetrack, though, is how is that going to handle for the tires? Because you have the chance of just shredding your rubber on those tires.
That's true. If you're Novak, if you're going to make a pass on the outside, you got to do it quick. And hopefully that'll be the case on all these passes for his sake and for those tires' sake. Again, just about 50 laps into this thing, nobody has come down to take tires. They have 8 in the pits available if they need be, but I don't think we'll see any tire stops before lap 100.
Everyone would get all set to go for our DRS restart zone appearance here. And McCollum still in the lead, Pataskin second, but Curle and Novak keep an eye on that battle in row number 2 and 3rd and 4th. RS Center and Jacob Harberts round out the top 6. Pace car is off into the DRS restart zone we go. Green flag is back out as Curle follows McCollum through on the bottom side with a good start.
Big spin the tire moment there for RS Center. He spun the tires back there in row number 3, lost a little bit of ground, and he's still a little bit sideways off turn 2 as they race to the back straightaway. Boy, Max Cookson back there has some damage to that 39 machine. Hopefully it's not causing any overheating. He got that a little bit earlier in the race. Top 4 single file. Then there's another Barber Ford caution here on the front straightaway. It's got multiple cars involved.
This one involving at least 6 or 7 drivers, as this time it was contact from behind. Fromke getting hit by the 31 of the Doucier, and that caused a bunch of the drivers at the rear of the field to get into it, including your lucky dog last caution, Raja Karuth involved. Take a look at this on the replay as the 31 machine gives a shot to the 63, and around go the drivers as they come up the track and collect another 3 to 6 drivers all the way from corner exit to the start and finish line. 305 to go next time by. 51 laps down in the second annual Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery. But still anything that can happen. Let's recap again what happened in the past few days or so. Wednesday night, it was the iSupport SDR 100. Brian Kuhn took the checker flag in a wild one in the sportsman's class. Then the Pro Trucks took the track Thursday for the DRS Pro Series 150. Alex McCollum was able to come home with the victory in his truck. Then the BK Paints 175 was a race with strategy. Drivers split their tire stints by 40 laps. Kuhn was one of those on the freshest tires. He finished the BK Paints 175 with the victory after passing Alex McCollum on the fresher Goodyear Eagles. Then on Saturday, the tobacco-free Florida 227, it was a race for the ages. James Curle and Alex McCollum fought near side-by-side for majority of the final 50 laps. McCollum took home the Pro Late Models victory and the big money in that event. Now he is your leader, the pole sitter, in your Super Late Models feature main event. He does have a little bit of a scrape on the right front fender, but other than that, he's kept the car clean so far with that clean air here, Ben.
Absolutely, and clean air. We've talked about it all weekend long. It could be the deciding factor of who wins this race. Clean air is such crucial, real estate here at Five Flag Speedway. And McCollum, he's got that number 10 pointed in the right direction. And you mentioned that right front wrinkled up just a little bit, may have tagged the wall, and that's pretty astonishing given the fact that he's had such the lead he's had. But, even the top drivers in sim racing make a mistake here and there. All it takes is one slip up, and that front stretch wall comes up pretty quick.
Right now, 1 to go for the restart. To the DRS restart zone we go. Keep an eye on that front row and keep an eye on row 2. Much better start from McCollum as a major checkup. Pataska doesn't get into speed. Drivers colliding, Mullis involved. Everyone strains it out. More drivers are bobbling into traffic. Still no caution flag. More drivers getting turned to the exit at turn number 2. Tremblay able to save it. We are still green. A massive mistake from Pataska.
Big moment there on the front row. Stacks up a good portion of the field and damages a handful of cars. And boy, it's going to take a long time to get sorted back after that one. A big moment down in turn 1 as a lot of people getting involved in that one. One of the bigger names was Jimmy Mullis, a big stack up there for the driver of the 40. Dalton Baldwin in the 48 also got a big piece of that, slid up and into the wall and fell back quite a bit. But up front, it's changed a little bit. McCollum still leads, and it's Curle. Harbert's Pataska now back to 4th.
And Novak, one of the fastest cars we talked about a bit. Now he's stuck in a side-by-side with Ryan Kuhn for P number 6. That's how much of a checkup there was there. But there was the potential of that. We talked about this yesterday with the Pro Late models. Tire spin on older tires. This is a very hot racetrack with the sunshine. That might have came into a factor for Pataska.
Certainly could have as they continue to battle side by side for that 6th position. Right behind that battle, oh, look who that is. That's the 112 machine. We're on lap number 59. He did 75 laps yesterday in the last chance race where he won. Started 28th. He has made up 20 positions so far, and he's almost cracked the top 5.
Yeah, he is watching along as Novak still trying to ride the top line as he's done a majority of this race. Has a lot of straight line speed, but the thing is, again, you can only do it for so long. While it's been his happy place, it seems, to be able to try and defend and make a move for passes, Kuhn again has that preferred line where it's not abusing the tires so much, especially off the corner.
Absolutely, and you know, the tire management may come about the same when you're in a side-by-side battle like that. For Kuhn, he's got to turn the car a little bit more off corner exit, which is really putting a bit more pressure on those tires. And he has a big slip up off turn 4 and allows Devin Morgan to get by on the outside as well.
Still struffling along. Novak back on the bottom side. Cookson up in front of him. Now that is again seen Morgan get on through as mentioned. Contact behind center involved. Barber Ford caution flag coming out as he slams the outside wall in turn 4.
And a bad break for the BK Paint's best appearing car of the weekend, and that was all net code there between Colin Allman and RS Center. Center sideways and just couldn't get it back straight, over corrected and pounds the outside retaining wall in turn 4.
And he tried so hard to make sure he didn't come across the field too, because there were still at least 3 or 4 drivers behind him. That time though, taking severe damage to the front nose on that machine. A few drivers do elect to come down and pit here, but man oh man, already 65 laps down in this one here, Ben.
That it is, and still not even anywhere close to the halfway point of this race. We've still got a long way to go over, or in the scratch at just under now 300 laps left here at Five Flags Speedway, and boy, we've had some major collisions so far involving a handful of drivers. You know, that we thought we may have seen at the front of the field at times. Dylan Bates, big story here. He comes down to pit road under this caution period. The driver started 6th. Doesn't look like he's getting any tires on that number 1 machine, but he may be trying an adjustment up on the turn 1 side of pit road.
It looks like a lot of drivers, though, too, are trying to make sure they get the damage repaired, but some of them might go a lap down because this is a very short pit lane. It can make it tough to try and get repairs done here because the pace laps are very quick here, just under 40 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Pace car, he's booking around this place. Brian Abson there in the pace car. He drives a real pace car at Five Flags Speedway. 45 mile an hour for the Ford Mustang pace car out in front of the field here with the iRacing logos on it. So, you know, not a lot of time to get your damage fixed. And if you're involved in something early on, then, you know, you just may have to ride with damage for a good portion of the event.
And you don't want to do that, Ben, especially with the track, with how important aerodynamics are, too, when you think about it, even with this type of car in 2019.
Yeah, absolutely. Aerodynamics so important on these super late models. They produce so much downforce at the speeds they're carrying here at Five Flags Speedway. Now, at a Langley Speedway, aerodynamics maybe not that important, but here at Five Flags with the speed so high and the corner speed, especially with the high banks, aerodynamics very important here in Pensacola.
Indeed, the top speed for these drivers, for example, in some cases reaching as high as 128 miles an hour in some of these laps so far tonight. But now they look to try and push themselves even more. Lights are on top of the pace car have gone out, meaning McCollum will go back to the inside. James Curle's in second, Harbert's in third, Pataska's in fourth, with Cookson side by side with Zach Novak for P's 5 and 6. They'll roll their way to the DRS restart zone once again here at Five Flags Speedway. What has been an interesting one to say the least for the second annual Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery. Into turn 4 they go. Pace car is off. McCollum is away. Cleaner start this time. Green flag is out.
Back in the air goes the green flag, and back into turn 1 goes the field as McCollum and Curle, the first to get single file, side by side between Harberts and Pataska behind them, and they'll continue that side by side battle down into turns number 3 and off turn 4. Here comes Max Cookson trying to get into the mix as well. Don't count out Devin Morgan from the last chance race, trying to crack the top 5 in the 112.
They're still going to have to wait, though, for these drivers to settle up for P number 3. Pataska getting a little push up that time for the 80 of Harberts. Cookson still falling behind, but that aerial damage in the 39 machine. Looks like he's trying to compensate by going harder into the brakes on corner entry, but there's a chance that can burn up your front tires by having to use more brake bias and brake pressure.
Certainly could, and we continue to watch that battle side by side for third. Harbert's on the inside, Pataska on the outside, and I don't agree with this form of racing this early on. We haven't even made it to lap 100. It looks like Novak almost got a piece of the wall down the back.
Still keeping on going, though. He's now side by side with Morgan. Jimmy Moas has also worked his way back to 8th position into the picture of this battle. You can throw a bunch of blankets over top the field inside this battle. Morgan trying to push up a touch, rides the white line, has to check up though, cannot get back single file as Novak gets the charge.
I'm sorry to cut you off there, Justin. I was just going to say just too hard racing early on here at Five Flag Speedway. I mean, we're only on lap 75 of 356, and these guys are battling like it's the last lap.
I agree with you here, and this is going to burn up their tires more and more, and this has allowed the leaders to pull away again by about half a second. Pataska though back single file with a massive checkup up 2.
I just don't get it. I don't understand why they are racing this hard for a spot inside the top 5, nowhere even near halfway.
Kind of thinking the same thing here and there, but there's still a ways to go. Cookson, though, up on the high side. Harbert's on the inside line now. The fight is on for 4th position. 2 by 2. Novak slides up the hill. Check up by Harberts, who had a bobble. Cookson now tries to get the run up high off 1 and 2.
Maybe Cookson trying to get up and away from that 80 machine to try and get some clean air on that 39, and boy, it's making me nervous watching these guys race so hard. I mean, we have the top drivers on the sim in this group, but all it takes is one mistake from these drivers, and we've already seen that happen a couple times this weekend for it to take out a good handful of drivers behind.
It looks like right now, though, the reason all these drivers are going up high is it seems they feel the 80 might not be able to ride the bottom as quick, so they're trying to freight train them up on the top side and race their way along for position.
And it's working for him. It looks like Harbert's not able to hold that car down and put the power down on the bottom like he needs to, and he is just getting freight trained. Usually what we would see on the outside is now happening on the inside of Jacob Harbert's.
Morgan is on clear. Moas now still has to fight. To the inside goes Morgan. Still outside is Moas. Ryan Kuhn now tries to join the fight, as Harberts continues to look a bit tight now because he can't get that right arc since he's not single file to get a run off the corner. Has to get off the gas. Finally gets single file though as Kuhn gets back behind him.
Kuhn behind him now, and now Kuhn looking to cross him over off turn 4, looking to the inside, and he's got it. Down into turn 1, here comes Ryan Kuhn. That'll be the battle for the 8th position. Kuhn, though, going to fight the same battle. Can't get the run off the corner from the bottom that he needs here as the tires begin to wear.
Harberts, again high side, able to defend. And you have to wonder if he went too high on the inside. Remember, he was up there for about the first 15-20 laps or so of this race where he couldn't get down here. Have to wonder if that's affected the handling. But there's a chance that could potentially flip to his direction with that line now that the rubber's starting to build up on the bottom.
Certainly could. And, you know, it's just going to be a game of cat and mouse, where the rubber is going to be all during the race, where the who has the best rubber left on their tires at which point of the race as well. So it's going to be fun to watch. You know, a lot of these drivers are some of the best in the business when it comes to tire conservation. Others not so much. Others have their cars set up for the short run, or maybe expecting a short run to finish this thing off, and that's where their setup is more based off of. But for those with the long run, you can definitely tell who's got the best piece on the longer run. Up front, it's Alex McCollum out in clean air. James Curle sits second, and it's Pataska, Cookson, and Novak to round out the top 5. And, boy, the driver that has impressed me so far the most this race, Devin Morgan. Look at him searching the lines here at Five Flag Speedway, trying to find the fastest way around the half mile, up 22 spots. Qualified in through the last chance race. By the way, he started last in the last chance race. So basically from 47th up to 6th this weekend.
It looks like he's now trying that higher line, about a half line up. Keep an eye on this, especially in 3 and 4. He prefers the bottom, it seems, here, Ben, in 1 and 2. But once you get to 3 and 4, he's been following Novak right up there, about a full lane up, in fact, where he's trying to seem to get the run up on the top side to be able to get that to work now, since it's our longest run of the race.
Well, I'll ask you, Justin, do you notice anything different between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here at Five Flag Speedway as the sun begins to set?
Well, it looks like, first off, bit of adjustments here in terms of how the corners are shaped here, just a touch. But 2, the sun's positioning is a bit more brighter in 1 and 2, it seems, in 3 and 4, where there's a lot of trees.
Yep, a lot of trees providing shade cover in that high groove, cooling the track down a little bit more up there. These race car drivers aren't fools. They see that, and they're trying to find every ounce of grip they can. You see, maybe the bottom, the preferred line down in 1 and 2, just as I say that, Morgan makes the outside work a little bit there. But here in 3 and 4, that top line starting to cool down with the shade cover provided by the trees.
Indeed, Morgan getting the run now for position. This is for the edge of the top 5. In fact, for P5. Novak bouncing around loose in the bottom of 1 and 2. Move Morgan up to 5th. And he had a rocket ship, mind you, in the last chance race. Looks like his teammate Cookson's going to let him go maybe for 4th position as he lets off the gas.
So Morgan on the move, and here comes Novak to try and take advantage of that check up there from Cookson as well. Cookson letting everybody go. Cookson may have a problem on that 39.
And you mentioned the potential for overheating with that front nose damage on his Ford. Well, the grill is completely crushed in, Ben. There's a chance he's starting to reach the temps in the red.
Could be, and that would be just tragic for the 39 machine, but let's hope that's not the case. Let's hope he's just trying to ride here early on at the Five Flag Speedway as we approach lap 100, but that's still not even close to the 1/3 mark of this race.
And there's also the counterpoint, though, of drivers have mentioned they like to potentially save at this point with the ride philosophy. There's a chance he's doing that as well. We'll have to wait and see as that progresses for Cookson. Meanwhile, Morgan looks to progress up to 3rd, goes to the bottom side. Pataska now moves up to the top, just outside the rubber on the circuit. He gets right up against that wall as Morgan nearly made contact.
Yeah, that was a close call down in 3 and 4. They got to be careful racing with the wear on the tires. Almost 100 laps on this set of tires, so Morgan have to be careful when he's working around the Dallas Pataska machine. Up front, though, for the lead. Here comes James Curle trying the outside.
Curle trying to get the run off the corner. Can't get back side by side, though. Seen an opportunity, trying to take it. Now is still going to continue to fight. They do have lap traffic ahead, which could be used as a pick. Dustin Slider, Jake Fromke, just a few car lengths ahead as they slide their way up. McCollum prefers the bottom, but Curle prefers the top. Trying to set things up as he nearly makes contact.
Oh, man, it is starting to get intense up here. Lap 100, and Curle thinks now that he's saved enough to get around Alex McCollum. I'm not sure if he's riding still or not. The battle for 3rd behind them goes to Devin Morgan from the outside. He makes the pass on the 23 of Pataska. Here comes the battle for the lead. Curle trying to get on the outside. McCollum goes up the racetrack. These cars are starting to slip and slide. 100 laps on the tires.
Yeah, right now towards the end of the life of these fresh tires, or formerly fresh tires. McCollum gives him the race lead as he slides up. Make a new race leader, James Curle, as McCollum gets the run back down the rear part of the racetrack.
I'm not sure if that was planned by McCollum or not. He went way high in 1. He almost hit the wall.
It looked like he went way up the bank and had to let off the gas. He's now back to the bottom side, though. So Curle now trying to pull away a touch. He still prefers that top line with lap traffic ahead, but look who's behind them again. The 112 of Devin Morgan. He is saying hello to the NX Racing driver as lap traffic goes up to the top side.
Oh, it's going to get risky here. Oh, no, my goodness. Slider going to go on the wall. Morgan tried to push it 3 wide there. Not the smartest move there off turn 2 by that driver.
And that was a teammate he accidentally wedged up in the wall there. Brings it back to single file for those drivers, but that could have been big because a lot of the drivers were still behind him. Morgan, though, trying to still get back up to the top. There's a chance Fromke can be now used as a pick by these drivers. He elects to go up to the top side, though. This could get dicey again off 2.
Morgan trying again on the high side here. Don't make it 3 wide, Devin. Oh, man. Look at this. The top 5. Throw a blinking, and albeit a small one over the top 5. Now 6 with Mullis in the mix.
Absolutely. Look who's also up high. It's Pataska now trying to follow through behind Morgan. Looks like McCollum falling off a touch at this point of the run or trying to save in the 10. He lets Morgan on go. So up in the lead, it's Curle, but the biggest mover, Morgan, plus 26 in the Barber Ford rocket ship.
Unbelievable run by Devin Morgan so far, and I've slacked on the note keeping. I'm not sure when the last caution was, but remember, 80 laps green flag run, and we'll have a competition caution. I can only assume we'll be easing up on that within the next 30 or so laps.
And the longer the run, there's the concern, too, at the end of the cycle. Will we see potential puncture? That was inserted into the new iRacing build for a lot of the cars. There's that possibility, maybe, for some of these machines as they continue to adjust here. Morgan still a car length behind, 2/10 total behind as he tries to close the gap, but look who's behind for third. Novak trying to say hello to Dallas Pataska.
And boy, McCollum, he has just lost all drive in that number 10. Maybe he didn't practice a 100 lap run in the 12 plus hours we had for super late models here on the track this weekend. He's back outside the top 5. The early race leader not looking so good on the long run. However, Devin Morgan showing his speed in that 112 machine, up almost the whole field here in 112 laps for the driver of the 112.
Yes, it's going to be the question. What do you do if you're Curle? You know the competition caution's coming. Do you try and go for the lead now or later? He tried to go for it now, couldn't get the run.
Boy, these guys are really getting tight, and the tires they've got to be gone on these machines. And on this long of a run, these guys are slipping and sliding and going for the lead, putting it all out there. They're putting on a show. So far, it's been clean within this top 5, but that may change with one slip up. Here comes the battle for the lead. Almost a door from the 112 to the 151. Triple digits going side by side.
Morgan dead even on the brakes that time with Curle. More lap traffic ahead. He slides up the hill, down the backstretch they go. He's trying to push Curle up the track. Morgan trying to get the bottom side of Lork as he slips around, pinches Curle. Contact behind them. Contact from Pataska. New race leader, Morgan.
Curle pushed up off 4. Pataska had nowhere to go but into the bumper. A close call there. Maybe that's going to calm these guys down here. It is still early on in this race. Only 1/3 complete, but it's Devin Morgan who has taken the lead from James Curle. Did so on the inside. Novak sits P3. It's Pataska 4th, and Jimmy Mullis round out the top 5.
Back to single file for the top 3, but Pataska now has a little touch bit of damage, and he's now still trying to scrap his way forward. Mullis gets back single file. Lap traffic stays up on top. Ladoucière lets them on go, but Novak wants to go to second. Curle still prefers that top, but Novak seems prepared to use the bottom as he clips the apron. Here comes Pataska.
Pataska right up around the outside of the racetrack trying to get around Novak. He may use that James Curle machine as a pick. They get real close to the back straightaway. Just walked over the race control, double checked. We are still 30 laps away from a competition caution here at the Five Flag Speedway. So these guys have 30 more laps on these tires at least.
And that's going to be interesting to see how they handle it because there's been a 0.6 of a second fall off on these tires. Novak using them to try and push on by. Still can't do so, however. It's going to be interesting to see, can these drivers hold on with that fall off?
That it is, and boy, they are getting very dicey up here within the top five. It's been dicey for the past couple laps. Morgan trying to open up a little bit of ground. He's trying to get away from that battle, and he's doing just that as the track going to fall under a little bit of cloud cover here at the Five Flag Speedway. Track temperature staying around that 95 mark as, oh boy, Mullis. Oh, Novak going to get a bump, and look at him work the wheel. 3 wide for third at the Showdown.
And Pataska giving some slack, backs off the gas, trying to shoot up the middle. Elects to go back to the bottom to find Mullis and allow himself to breathe. That could have been a disaster, but some good give and take that time from the 23.
Certainly was, as Jimmy Mullis finding his way up to P3. He got crashed out early in the running last night in the tobacco-free Florida 227. He thought he had a car that could win. He's going to go out and try and win this Snowball Showdown here this afternoon.
And Novak is now losing a spot. Mullis was able to move by third in all of that. But the traffic is now electing to stay to the bottom, down in 1 and 2. Curle is now stuck behind Jerry Glenn, gets to his inside, and opens up the choo-choo train along the white line. But look what's happening above the sky. It's a cloud.
Cloud's going to cool the track down, going to give these guys some much-needed grip right now as these cars are really slipping and sliding all around the racetrack. Long run here in the Snowball Showdown. This is what we were looking for, though. This is what we wanted to see. Some long green flag runs, and look at the racing that we get from those. Some great action here at the end of this run.
Indeed, already 127 laps down, 229 to go, this time by at the stripe. But Morgan's pulled away by 0.6 of a second, but a Barbara Ford caution flag is out. After a longest run, it's down the back stretch. Multiple drivers involved in this one.
And it looks like Colin Allman going to be one of the big ones, and it all happened in front of them as Derek Gluchacki got maybe a door from Briar LaPrade. Just some close racing there, checked everybody up, and some of the favorites for this event are hard into the wall. Boy, Allman almost went up and over against the backstretch wall. Garrett Conrad gets a piece of it, gets slowed down, though, before any big contact.
That's just a lot of bad luck, it seemed, down the back straightaway. But this comes at a perfect time for these drivers, a long stretch. And now we might see some drivers maybe pit, do you think, at this point? Because we have seen a couple go down. Morgan was one of them who already went down the lane.
Yeah, I'm thinking 1/3 of the way complete with this race. You got to come down and get some tires now on these machines. You mentioned Morgan comes down pit road. Here comes Curle. He'll come down pit road this time by. I'm not sure. Maybe Morgan pitted before
he pit when it closed. He pit when it was closed. That's why he's not letting cars go. He just lost all his track position.
Oh, my. That is going to be crucial for the driver of the number 112 if that's the case. Or maybe everybody else just behind him missed the moment. No, Morgan having to stop on the apron, letting everybody by. Big story here from the driver who raced his way from last in the last chance race, almost last in the field today, up from 28th to the lead, and now he's going to have to do it all over again.
My goodness, you have to wonder what's going through his mind now after that one. A big-time mistake, but there's still a lot of time to try and recover from it. If it happened at 50 laps to go, you're panicking. At 226, you buckle up and drive.
Yeah, absolutely. We've already seen him come through the field in 100 laps before. He can certainly do it again as a lot of mix-up happening down on the pit road. This is a very fast-paced caution track, so there's going to be a lot of mix-up here as drivers really trying to find their way around. It looks like a couple drivers have chosen to stay out, one of those being Ryan Kuhn, a two-time winner this weekend so far. Tyler Cox and Stephen Chun look to be the handful of drivers that decided to stay out.
And if they do elect to stay on the racetrack here, we've seen this strategy work out for them last in the modifieds, at least for Kuhn, where he took tires 40 laps later and was able to come back and charge up the field because he was a couple tenths quicker on the short and medium run. This could get interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna delay the caution period here. A lot of drivers trying to get into position after that round of pit stops there. So this is really shaking up the field, as you can imagine. A lot of cars losing a couple laps there, or losing a lap at least. We have 18 cars still on the lead lap, and about from 19th through 28th, that's about 9 cars still 1 lap down and in contention here at the Five Flag Speedway.
And you know something else? Look who's in P3. Stephen Chun, I believe, might have taken 2 tires here, Ben, and this is another big gamble for him now.
That it is, and we're gonna keep an eye on that 84. You got to keep an eye on the top 3 here at Five Flag Speedway, because this can really get interesting here as this race progresses. And these top 3 on older tires, at least on mostly older tires, as the lights go off atop the iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car, getting set for the restart here. Probably one of the most crucial ones of the race. Keep an eye on those top 3.
Teammates Kuhn and Cox in row 1 on old tires. Row 2, Chun on 2 tires. Alex Mccollum on 4 freshies. Gluchacki in 5th. Cookson in the 6th position. As they approach the DRS restart zone, watch the tire spin. None from the top 3. We're backing away.
That's a good sign so far. Oh, but McCollum's got a problem down in 1. Something went amiss on the 10. He goes up the racetrack. That allows Cookson to be now the car on the freshest tires here at Five Flag Speedway, outside of Chun, now outside of Cox. Here comes Cookson looking for his spot, maybe to try and lead the Snowball Showdown.
Remember, Tyler Cox was involved in one of the incidents earlier. He's now getting slowed up. On the back bumper, though, McCollum is Jimmy Mullis as the clouds continue to settle. As up towards the front, a driver has passed on by. Max Cookson's in the lead of the Barbara Ford caution. It's at the back of the field. Morgan is involved. He has damaged the right front part of the suspension in this one.
And that happened right in front of him, and he just had nowhere to go. And if you're Devin Morgan, you are eating yourself alive, as he has tagged not only a race car but the wall there as well in that incident for Devin Morgan.
And an interesting one with 219 laps to go. And some of the drivers involved, it was just a massive stack up trying to avoid everything.
That it was, and just a lot of probably contact that could have been avoided had they been on the brakes a little early there, but things happen so quick here at Five Flag Speedway, and that was just an instance of 3 wide there that just not going to work here, prior to halfway.
Morgans came back down the pit lane and is elected to get some of the damage repaired, as well as taking 2 tires on the 112 machine. But now he's going to be back in 18th position at least. There are just 19 cars on the lead lap, by the way, in the race. First driver a lap down now is the 06 of Richard Regan Jr. in the 06 machine, who has got significant damage. Everybody else still on the lead lap cycle on the racetrack after Conrath got the lucky dog.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll keep an eye on these top 5 or so. The guys that stayed out there under that caution. Not sure when the last time Kuhn and Chun and Cox pitted for tires. We know Chun's on 2 freshies, but Kuhn and Cox, they've got it, I'd say, at least 60 laps on their tires at most, maybe even, or at the least, maybe more than that on the 72 and the 4. So for these guys behind them, it's just going to be a game of patience and trying to work around them without any contact.
Absolutely here. Already about an hour into the racing action, mind you, too. And as we slowly approach this halfway point of the race, real quickly, what is going through your mind? What have you picked up on as these drivers have adapted to this track?
Well, I've picked up on maybe we should have been a little bit more harsh in the drivers' meeting with practicing patience, because we have not seen a whole lot of that throughout a good majority of the field. The top 5, they have been just stellar. I mean, it has been the top 5 prior to a couple cautions ago. They've put on some great racing. They're the top names in all of sim racing. But at the back of the field, these guys just running over each other for really nothing, and it's causing some problems for the guys that want to get out and race. So hopefully that'll change here as we get set to go back racing on lap 141.
They'll head to the DRS restart zone. Max Cookson took the lead just prior to the Barber Ford caution flag. The Barber Ford, number 39, with Glovebox Motorsports, hits the loud pedal. Green flag is back out. We're racing once again from 5 flags. And remember, the 2nd and 4th place cars on the outside line at the moment are on older tires.
It's really going to get interesting here as the 103 of Gluchacki there. He is on only 2 fresh right side tires as well, so keep an eye on him as he paces around the 5 flag speedway. He's got Mullis and Novak behind him, but just in front of him he's got Alex McCollum, and he actually gets a run on the 10 to the back straightaway.
A bit of a run. McCollum diving his way to 4th, now catching up to the drivers on 2 tires. Gluchacki checking up in front. Barber Ford caution is out. Another stack up in the back, this one involving the 06 of Richard Reagan Jr. and a few others. He made contact, the 06 did. That time by with Dustin Slider just on the outside of Morgan. Morgan nearly got involved in a 2nd straight.
Yeah, another 3-wide battle there for, a position outside P25. So these guys just continue to ruin it for the ones up front. Hopefully we can get that changed back there. As we get the replay up there, you see just a failed attempt at a 3-wide.
And 3-wide doesn't usually work here, though, is the thought process, because it is not easy to come off the corner 3-wide, obviously, for one.
Yeah, it gets real tight on corner exit, and here at 5 flags, there's so many bumps around the racetrack that the bumps upset the car and kind of push the car up the racetrack some, and it's real hard to judge, when that's going to happen and where it's going to happen and where the cars are around you. As we see Ryan Kuhn, he gives up the 5th position to come down pit road this time.
And he pulled off this strategy before in the modifieds, but with a bit of a bigger gap, how much do you think that split is going to be? Because it will be about 15 laps, give or take, maybe, between them and the rest of the field?
Yeah, if I'm Ryan Kuhn, I don't know if I'm really liking this decision coming down and getting to the back of the field here. That's going to be really, really tough, especially with some of the incidents we've been seeing back here, with some of the impatientness with the drivers at the back half of this field. So Kuhn's got to be careful. He doesn't want to end up like Morgan.
Absolutely right now. Still 210 laps to go in this event at the moment. As we continue to shuffle along these drivers, let's go and quickly recap your top 10. Max Cookson's in the lead. He is in front of Stephen Chun, who is on 2 tires. The next driver on 4 tires is Alex McCollum, your pole sitter. He's got good short and mid-run pace in that Toyota Supra. Looks to use that pace to get back to the point. Derek Gluchacki is in 4th. Jimmy Moa, Zach Novak in row 3 and 5th and 6th. James Curle, Dalton Baldwin in 7th and 8th positions. Brian Blanchard and Dallas Pateska round out your top 10 starting positions for this next restart here. And as this is all underlaid, guys like Baldwin have quietly moved up plus 11 in all of this.
Yeah, Baldwin, he was one of those drivers that was involved in an earlier incident here at the Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery as well. So not only has he come up from P19, but he's come up through the field, got wrecked, got a little bit of damage. He was up into the wall at one point, and now he's worked his way back up inside the top 10. And how about that machine? That is one of the most beautiful cars in the field today. There's some great-looking cars in the field, don't get me wrong, but that one with the new chrome additions here on iRacing, that one really stands out.
Indeed, here as they'll start to approach the DRS restart zone. Cookson ready to get back on the gas. That damage not affecting him too much in the speed quite yet in the short run. We'll see how it is in the long run. Him and McCollum hit the loud pedal and followed through on the bottom for the green flag.
149 down, closing in on lap 150 of 356 here at the Snowball Showdown. To the back straightaway, it's Mullis and Gluchacki going at it for that 4th spot.
Gluchacki is still trying to hold on to those 2 tires, but Jimmy Mullis on the 4 wants to go through along with Mullis. Much more speed off the corner with the grip difference on that 40.
Certainly into the back, to the front straightaway now. It looks like Mullis going to crack the podium for the first time tonight. Bump him to 3rd behind McCollum. He's going to bring a fellow eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series driver with him, the champion of that series, and Zach Novak. And now they go to the inside of McCollum. McCollum Justin, it looks like McCollum just does not have a good car in traffic. Out front, he's okay, but once he gets behind somebody, that car just doesn't seem to have the drive.
Or maybe he's also thinking, I'm on the top side, may as well save the tires here, because we've seen how important tire conservation has gotten in the past few weeks, especially here on the service. And if you burn up your equipment, there's a chance he falls back again.
Could be. So we'll just keep an eye on McCollum over the course of this run. But this is almost the furthest he's fallen back. He fell back on that green flag run after getting passed for the lead when the car got in traffic.
Oh, they're stacking up in turn 4. Barber for caution is out, another pile up. And again, Brandon Holder now involved. Richard Regan Jr. involved again. This time it was drivers fighting for one space on the bottom of the racetrack, but 2 cars wanting the space.
And they get involved down in 3 and 4, and boy, what a turn of events. They were, right at the back of the field. And again, just racing back here is, it's almost irrelevant to what's going on at the front of the field. These guys racing for big money up at the front of the field. You're racing for the same money in the back of the field and crashing even multiple laps down on most of those drivers.
Indeed here, but this is going to help drivers like Cookson cool down their equipment and their tires here, because remember, Cookson does have that front end damage. We talked about a little bit. That could be a potential factor. Not a factor if you continue to have a caution-precaution race.
That's certainly true. And out in front, it's probably helping that machine cool down if he is having any overheating issues. So we'll keep an eye on Cookson, although that damage could be slowing him down out front. Maybe he works better behind another machine. We'll just keep an eye on that over the course of this run. We haven't really got a long green flag run with Cookson out in front, so we don't really know how that's going to shape out with that 39. But yes, he's got Jimmy Mullis right behind him. Then it's Zach Novak, Derek Gluchacki, and Alex McCollum. Boy, this top 5 is stacked full of some of the best drivers you could ask for, including the champion in the oval side, the biggest championship on the oval side of sim racing, going to Zach Novak. Jimmy Mullis finished 5th to the driver behind him in that championship, the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. So these are some of the biggest drivers. Just ahead of them, another eNASCAR champion in the Ignite Series. That's Max Cookson. He won the championship there this year.
And I was actually talking with Cookson last night, where his main goal, he made it clear. He wants to be in a position to compete for a world championship. And now there's the chance he might be able to do so for 2020 with how things are aligning at the moment, behind the scenes especially. Going to be interesting to see, can Cookson make the Peak Series in 2021? Still a lot that can happen, though, in the Road to Pro qualifiers in the spring, summer, and fall time.
Certainly could, but just imagine winning this race with all the eyes on it today. There's some big-time people tuning in, almost 150 live viewers right now, and we appreciate everybody tuning in to the Snowball Showdown here on the LSR and the iRacing Esports Network, live on the Snowball Showdown Facebook page. And if you are tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. We'll try and get caught up with some of the chat here under some of these cautions and give you a shout out if we have time. But it's Max Cookson, Jimmy Mullis on the front row, Novak, Gluchacki, McCollum, and Curle. That's the front 3 rows as the field heads to the DRS restart zone. Pace car to pit road, green flag back in the air. Cookson, a good restart, and he'll lead the field to turn 1.
Able to beat Mullis into turn 1. Mullis able to get quickly to the bottom side, cuts off the 6 of Novak. Traffic coming out of the pit lane as they fight side by side for the 3rd position. Gluchacki wants the bottom, cuts down right in front of the battle behind them. Curle and McCollum side by side.
Oh boy, and they got stacked up right behind them there with Chris Canfield in the mix. But mentioning McCollum and Curle, those 2 guys were the ones battling for the champion or for the win in the tobacco-free Florida 227 last night. Looks like they're going to have some battles going on today as well. But Dallas Pataska works his way around the outside of McCollum, move Pataska up to P6 as he tries to march his way back towards the front.
And Pataska looked really good when we seen him in that first set of tires. For the first 50 to 70 laps, it seemed. It takes a couple laps for that 23 to get going, but it looks like those tires are up to full saw now for him to put on the afterburners.
Absolutely, and that's completely swapped from what we've seen all weekend for Pataska. I think he focused more on the super late model setup than any other setup so far. He is just would get going on the start in the other divisions, but would just fall back so quick and then got caught up in some mayhem and wasn't really able to pull out any good finishes over the course of the weekend. He's looking to change that today here in the Snowball Showdown. He's challenging for the 5th position now on the bumper of James Curle. Behind them, though, just outside the top 10, Briar LaPrade, Stephen Chun going at it for P number 10.
Yeah, and that is the first driver on 2 tires. Briar LaPrade is. Kuhn is stuck on the top side, about 5 positions back. So LaPrade played the strategy game with them and took fresher tires. But look who's just in front of him in McCollum as he tries to get on by that 10. Devin Morgan up to 8th again despite the damage.
Oh.
How in the world?
Contact off of turn 4, and Parker Brookfield in the 27 is going to be involved in this one, and he sits backwards down in turn number 1, bringing out the Barber Ford caution again here at 5 Flags.
Let's take a look at how in the world this happened. It looked like a checkup after door-to-door contact in front of them, and Conrad can't see through cars. That accidentally gives him a shot from behind on the checkup situation.
Yeah, that's just a racing deal there, and sadly for Conrad, he'll most likely get the EOL along with Parker Brookfield. And, as we try to play as fair as possible, and when it's a racing deal like that, both drivers go to the rear of the field. Just a bad break, though, for Brookfield as he takes a big hit into the inside wall here at 5 Flags.
We're just a couple laps away from the halfway point of the race. Let's take a moment, though, to go to your Ford Entertainment Group midway race break as we go through a run-through of your standings. In the lead, it is Max Cookson. Up in front, plus 10 from the start of the race. Make it plus 11 with Jimmy Mullis in second. Zach Novak's in third with Derek Luchacki in the 4th spot. James Curle 5th. Pataska and Chris Canfield 6th and 7th with Morgan in the 8th position. He has come to the field twice already. McCollum dropping back in 9th spot with Briar LaPrade, the first driver on the newest set of tires, in 10th.
11th goes to Dalton Baldwin, and it's Stephen Chun sitting 12th from the last chance race. Dylan Bates, he qualified 6th. He's back to 13th. Ryan Kuhn sits 14th. Tyler Cox is 15th. Ryan Blanchard sits 16th. 17th to Jerry Glenn. We'll scratch that. Blanchard and Glenn going to trade spots there as scoring updates. Justin Trombley sits 18th. Brookfield there with the hard contact into the inside wall. Scratch that. He'll fall back. Outside pole sitter, Jacob Harbert's 19th. Cason Plott, 20th.
The reason why the scoring is shuffling around is because Blanchard did pit that time by a lawn. Cason Plott is now in the 20th spot for now. Garrett Conrad is in 21st position. The last car on the lead lap is Parker Brookfield still, who is getting repairs done and rolling off the pit lane. 23rd is Dylan Canova. RS Center 24th. Ryan Campbell 25th with Raja Karuf 26th. 27th is Denk with Regan Jr. in 28th, catching up to the field with the Dusher in 29th. Holder is 30th in the pit lane. Slider in 31st, 13 laps down. The rest of the drivers are done. Fromke and Allman are both done for today's race. That has been a look at your FEG Midway Race Break. FEG PC has been serving the iRacing community with custom-built affordable computers specifically tuned and built for iRacing. Your PC will come with everything you need, preloaded so you can get racing as soon as it hits your doorstep. Get yours today and join the 600-plus iRacers, or why don't you join an FEG PC? PCs to fit every budget from $540 on up are available. Visit FEGPC.net and mention the code LSRTV10 and get your build quoted today. Drivers all set to go to come off the banking as they make their way down the backstretch. 1 to go signal. Again, it is Cookson in control of the field on the inside line. No one has elected to take an outside restart today as they approach the DRS restart zone. Green flag is up. Once again, off and away, and Mullis' slower start. Contact from behind.
Yeah, got a little bump there from Gluchacki. A check up there on the start. Everybody, good job getting down the front stretch and into turn 1. It's going to be Mullis, though, to the back straightaway, trying to fend off Novak on the inside. He'll do just that. Gluchacki now trying to follow in suit, but Novak just so good down on the bottom. Novak is good anywhere on this racetrack.
That's opened up the door for James Curle as well on the bottom side. Pataska trying to work on the high side. Look who's also in the mix. It's Chris Canfield in the 03 machine. He played some strategy to gain some track position. And now he is bobbing loose. Pushing up the track is Gluchacki. Right on by goes James Curle for the 4th position.
Bump Curle up to 4th. Here comes Pataska now to the inside. Gluchacki almost gets the wall down the backstretch. Big check up there from the 103. Thankfully, that wasn't any contact there. That could have been a big one down the back straightaway. Pataska going to get by, and a driver we really haven't talked much about all race long is Chris Canfield. The driver up from 18th now, trying to make his way to the top 5.
Canfield working his way on the bottom. Gluchacki trying to cut him off. Able to do so. Able to diamond his way off the corner that time, off 3 and 4. As he protects the white line this time. A tough move that time as everybody inside the top 10 back to single file.
That they are, and hopefully we can get another good run going in this race, as we've had a couple back-to-back caution periods there, but hopefully that'll change as we can log some laps here just past the halfway point, closing in on lap 200 here in the Snowball Showdown. Once we get to lap 200, maybe things start picking up a little bit more, or a lot of these guys probably still going to wait to 250, maybe even 300 to start really pushing their machines.
Possibly. There's still 176 to go this time by, as we've talked about. Coming up to lap 181 to begin that cycle out of 356 here in the Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery. The fight starting to heat up, though, for second position. Mullis defending, Zach Novak on the attack.
That he is. Both these guys showed a lot of speed there on that long green flag run that we had in what seemed like now many moons ago, and I think they're in a comfortable position right now to ride inside this top 3, save their stuff, and have something for Max Cookson here at the end of this run if need be. If we can stay green, though, that's the big crucial part. Here comes Canfield back to the inside of Gluchacki. That 03 and 103 going side by side.
They had lost about 5 car lengths to the position battle in front of them as Canfield rides the bottom. Gluchacki sends it hard on the top side. However, might be chewing up those tires a little bit with how hard he's working up on the top groove. Gluchacki doesn't want to drop any positions, but you have to wonder when to just give up the ghost because he's nearly tapping the wall, he's fighting so hard.
Yeah, and all it's going to take is one smack with that wall, and he's going to take out some good cars behind him, and we don't want to see that. But he's still fighting hard on the outside. Canfield fighting hard on the inside. Both those drivers want the 6th position. Who's going to push, though, the hardest to get in? Right now, it's going to be Gluchacki. They'll go back single file just ahead of Devin Morgan.
And these guys really racing hard for these spots. Morgan to the inside of Canfield now. Dived it on in. Will Canfield give him the spot? Yes, he will. Checks up. Brian LaPrade tries to follow suit, but can't.
Close call there on the backstretch there as Morgan wasn't quite clear, but made himself clear on Canfield. Canfield looked like he was going to give him the spot anyways. He says, go ahead, Devin, see if you can get around that 103, and I'll just follow behind you. But Morgan not able to put up a run together. Looks like he's a little bit loose in this run as opposed to the last one. Maybe that damage on the right front starting to play a factor in the 112.
Possibly, and should note, with that cloud that's still actually above the track still, as we head towards the evening time, the track temp has dropped to 89 degrees Fahrenheit. That's also gripped up the track a little bit more, and the speeds will pick up as well. 124 miles an hour at the end of the straightaway for Morgan as he's on the inside of that 103.
That he is. To the inside he goes, looking to get that position away. A pair of triple digits again, battling for a spot now just outside the top 5. Almost come together on the front straightaway. A good battle here for that 6th position. Morgan on the inside, Gluchacki on the outside. Morgan a little wiggle down low, Gluchacki up high. It gets real tight down the back here at 5 flags.
Gluchacki up the banking, lets Morgan go, but here comes Canfield now. He wants to do the can-can dance up to P number 7. But just can't get the run. Looked like he got a little bit loose. Remember, he tried that staggered strategy we talked about a little bit. And while it's gotten to the track position, he's just not getting the runs to make a pass yet.
Absolutely. I'm just searching through the field here, Justin, trying to find out who may have some speed in their cars, where the battles are on the racetrack. Kind of keeping my eye on Justin Trombley and Stephen Chun. Trombley has been involved in a handful of incidents. He's worked his way back up to a pretty good rebound. He sits 13th right now. Then you have the Georgia driver, Kason Plott. He sits 14th. A good run there in that number 19 machine. He's got the 99 decal on that super late model, but a good run for Plott. He's got a little bit of damage, but for the most part, plot has kept that car clean, and he has been around a lot of contact at the back of the field. Now he finds himself up in the first half of the field and looking pretty good, at least for now.
Indeed, you're looking at the battle that's going on right behind him. You just were, pardon me, there with Chun trying to hold on. But it's getting very dicey. Canfield starting to get a bit impatient with Gluchacki, trying to do everything he can to get to the inside line. The thing is, Gluchacki is not budging. Canfield's trying to ride the white line, but Gluchacki is using a bit of a lower arc off the corner, which is forcing Canfield to have to lift.
Yeah, he's really putting the pinch on the 03, and for the moment, it's working for Gluchacki. Probably for too much frustration for Canfield and the drivers behind him, but Gluchacki's doing everything he can to hold on to that spot. And while we've been watching that, Jimmy Mullis has snuck up on the lead, and here we go. First time this afternoon, that 40 trying to make it to the lead. By the way, a feel-good story it would be for Jimmy Mullis to win this race. Last year in the Snowball Showdown, he was starting off real good. I do believe he was in the lead about 15 laps in when his internet connection dropped due to an ice storm. He lost 6 laps, was never able to gain those laps back, and now what a story it would be for him to win this race tonight, especially after getting crashed out last night in the event. He's got a bumper on the 39, down to 3.
39 trying to pinch a slight touch on Jimmy Mullis. Still can't get the run off the corner. Both of these drivers have had some bumps and bruises on their super late models. But these are the two fastest cars amongst the top running machines. 16.597s for both of these machines last time by. Mullis a bit of a bobble, still trying to outbreak the 39. But Cookson knows how important that bottom line is for defending. He's going to try and force Mullis to do something up top maybe.
That he is, and his best chance to do that may come within the lap traffic, which is just ahead of these two guys. Here comes Mullis, though. He's got an hose down in one. Cookson really putting a pinch. Mullis is almost on the apron, almost tags the quarter panel. Great race for the lead up front.
Just a couple inches away from near disaster. That's how close they're fighting. But the best of the best in all of iRacing continue to scrap it out. 154 laps to go in the Snowball Showdown. Lap traffic, though, is ahead, and we've seen how much that can play into a factor with this battle if it's on the wrong line and can really bundle up a group.
Well, lap traffic has been the theme of the whole week, it seems like, on these long green flag runs, like what we're seeing right now. So the back straightaway, Mullis gives a little bit of ground to Cookson there, and they ease up on the lap machines. The first ones they'll get to here will be, it looks like, LaDoucière, Holder, and Caruth. 3 cars running in a small little pack there, and Mullis continuing to work the rear bumper of Cookson all the way around this half mile.
Indeed, right there goes the 31 to the high side now. Let's on by the top 2 machines. Novak also about to be let by in turns 1 and 2, make it 3 and 4 when he reaches that 31. But the traffic's been very cordial for the most part today. All of them knowing, get off the train tracks because the leaders, they're coming in quick. The difference between the front and the back in pace, around 0.2 of a second at the moment.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. These leaders, they've got their car dialed in. A lot of these guys that they're passing right now have damage. Rajah Caruth there in the 13. He was on top of Jerry Glenn in the first Barber Ford caution of the night. So what a great, not a great comeback rather, but a disappointing race for Caruth as he sits 1 lap down now in 27th. I do believe that'll go to 2 here as the leaders get by.
And that's respectable for a car that was on top of people about in the first big one of the race. Still chugging along, though. But one thing to know, Chris Canfield, a technical issue, has just lost him a top 10 running position. He is off the track and running down the order and fast. Already back to 24th. Bad luck for Canfield.
Bad luck indeed. We were just talking about how Mullis had that same luck last year in the Snowball Showdown. It happened a whole lot earlier in the race, though, for Mullis. It's really going to sting for Canfield having a top 10 car just after lap 200. For the lead, though, Mullis now gets side by side. Cookson, though, powers off the outside off of turn 2 and down into 3. They almost come together, challenging for the biggest win of their iRacing career.
Bit of a bobble that time for Cookson, in fact, with all that contact. He tries to go about a quarter lane higher than Moas. Gets the run off the corner. More traffic. Dank and Blanchard up in front of them. That's the 25th and 21st cars, respectively. Will Cookson try and use them as a pick, or will Moas try and do so? Traffic again, though, gets off the bottom line as quick as they can. A teammate in Blanchard now trying to go and help his Glove Box Motorsports brethren on go, and does. Zach Novak, meanwhile, still losing a bit of time in this traffic.
That he is. He's not able to get clear the traffic quite as quick as the leaders, because once the traffic lets the leaders by, then they pick right back up on what they were doing, which is racing the cars around them. So Novak having to really fight to get back through. The two guys up front have it easy. The rest of the guys in lap traffic going to have it a little bit harder as this race continues to mosey on through. It's Mullis right on the bumper of Cookson as we close in on that 100 lap mark. We're still a good bit away from it, but it's getting closer every lap.
Next time by, they'll be about 70 miles away from the finish here at this half-mile circuit. As again, Cookson has held on very, very well this entire run. Still, they've now pulled away from Novak here on this long run. For those wondering, Alex McCollum, how far did he drop back, by the way? 14th position is where he is now let off. Something going on with that 10 machine as the lead still scrapping along.
If we get a shot of McCollum, he's got some left front damage on that machine now to go along with the right side damage, and he's losing another spot to Garrett Conrath. He may be in jeopardy of losing a lap if this run continues on. Not the run that the Tobacco-Free Florida 227 champion wanted and the pole sitter for today.
I agree on that one, absolutely. Next car that could go a lap down, Ryan Kuhn is the last car in the lead lap, about a few car lengths ahead of this battle. And remember, he pit with 15 lap fresher tires than a lot of the drivers. That strategy didn't work out.
Didn't work out this time. Maybe too many cautions right after when he pitted there. So, wow, if you would have told me Ryan Kuhn would be in jeopardy of getting lapped here at the Snowball Showdown today, I would have called you crazy. But he is just half a straightaway ahead of the leaders, and they're coming fast.
Indeed, right now, go towards them because Cookson slides up off two. Moas gets the run on the bottom side. He outbreaks the 39 down low. Cookson tries to diamond it. They nearly make contact as Cookson leads to the stripe.
Mullis stays side by side with him, though, down into turn one, not letting that pinch move really affect the 40 machine. If they come together, it's going to be big, and Cookson goes around. The leader spins in the showdown.
Barber for caution is out. He gets hit by someone else as well, and that is absolutely major with 134 laps to go. Take a look at this. Cookson got a bit loose off of two. And around he goes. Moas helping him around as he was also pushing tight.
Wow, wow, wow. What a change of events here as Mullis and Cookson get together. Looks like that may be deemed as a racing deal. We'll wait for race director Robert Barber to make the decision on that. And then as Cookson was spinning down the track, Pataska was checking up, gets hit from behind. That turns him dead sideways and right into the path of the spinning Max Cookson. He makes hard contact with the rear end. Pataska may be out of this race, or out of contention at least, here at Five Flag Speedway.
It was Curle who hit Pataska on the checkup there. And now Pataska getting a bunch of repairs done. But now, because of that, Moas end of longest line penalty. He will lose the lead and all the track position. Zach Novak inherits the lead now because of that. My goodness, this has just been shaken up to its core.
Yeah, buckle up. Curle going to be sitting second now for this restart. Devin Morgan going to restart this race third. Dylan Bates fourth. Briar LaPrade fifth. And some drivers come down to take tires. So we've got all that to keep up with, too.
Yeah, a lot of drivers. In fact, many of the drivers who were many laps down. Ryan Kuhn also ducked down to the pit lane. RS Center. Alex McCollum also ducked down. So this is going to get interesting now as McCollum trying to get some of the damage repaired. In fact, down inside the pit lane. Remember, you mentioned that left front damage really crinkled in right in front of the tire on the Toyota Supra.
That it is, and A really surprising change of events here for that instance. I'm being summoned over to race control, so I'll be right back, Justin.
Indeed, while he discusses things, I'd like to remind you tonight's broadcast presented by Murder Creek Distillery. Murder Creek Distillery is located in Brewerton, Alabama, and serves the panhandle of Florida. Murder Creek Distillery specializes in a variety of moonshine flavors. If you're on the panhandle, check out your local liquor stores for Murder Creek products today. Check them out online for more info and see how you can get their products shipped to your door. And now Novak, looking to try and take control of the tempo of this race, gets the one-to-go signal on the iRacing official pace car here, as he'll start alongside James Curle. But Morgan up to P3 with Bates.
Absolutely, and a big, this caution comes at almost the wrong time if these guys are betting on a competition caution. Remember the rule, after lap 300, no more competition cautions. The competition caution would fly at 3:07. That's not going to happen. Green flag back in the air in the DRS restart zone after some bumper tag over in turn number 4 and down into 1. Here comes that battle for the second position heating up. It's Curle trying to fend off Morgan, and he does so for the time being, but a caution comes out.
Now Barber Ford caution flag. Ryan Blanchard going around in turn 1 and 2. This was towards the back of the field, getting some help from Raja Karuth, who hit him on the left rear quarter panel and helped him finish the job.
Jumping around he goes, and you mentioned it. Finishes him off, and Center gets a piece of it there, and boy, Mullis just snuck by on the apron, and the driver of that number 40 machine, and he is just sweating bullets. Now Justin trying to work his way back up to the field.
Yeah, now we'll see Trombley now in the pit lane with all of this too. So 127 now to go, 230 laps in the books here. Your thoughts, Ben?
Boy, it's heating up. That Max Cookson and Jimmy Mullis incident on the back straightaway, that may be the turning point of this event. The two battling for the lead. We were just a couple laps away actually from the competition caution. It would have waved at just a little bit after 250. But those two get together, spin down the back straightaway. Cookson gets a big hit from Dallas Pataska. Man, what an incident there. Mullis gets the EOL penalty for being a part of the incident. It's been a wild one here in the past 10 or so laps, and I don't think it's going to start settling down anytime soon.
Indeed there, as, by the way, Cookson now at this moment still in 9th position, so he still has a shot for a decent finish, but it's going to be now a different conversation for people in the conversation. Novak, what do you think of how his race has been? Because he's kept the car pristine, in fact, his Ford Mustang.
I think he's about the cleanest car on the racetrack besides the pace car. Novak, he's got a good machine under him. We've seen him pass on the inside, we've seen him pass on the outside, and now he's got the lead. So if you can pass cars on the inside and outside, just imagine how well you're going to be able to fend off cars if he does get a challenge. That being said, Novak is on some pretty old tires here. He still has 4 left in the pits to choose from, but still over 100 laps left in this race.
Yeah, and we're still just about, give or take, about 68 laps until we get towards the point where you don't have to worry about a competition yellow if we get a long run. Novak trying to hold on. Curle in second. Morgan Bates still third and fourth. But Brian LaPrad's up to 5th position. He's got a little bit of damage from some contact before and a couple bump and runs, but he's still inside the top 5 now.
Barely locked himself in through the last chance race, or through the qualifying on Friday night, so keep him on your watch list. He's hungry for a win here today. Green flag back in the air. Novak, a little bit of internet connection issues, it looks like, on the 6. Maybe some bad luck occurring here for the driver of that machine. It looks like it's all good now, but we're back to racing.
Side by side for P number 2. On the inside, Morgan Curle trying to ride that middle line. Gets the run, but they're 3 wide down the front stretch of the back of the field and nearly making contact 10th on back. Conrad side by side with Baldwin. Behind them, being split in the middle now with contact. Luchecki moved up the track.
So Jackie goes up the racetrack. That's Dallas Pataska that was the meat in the sandwich there, trying to make some more ground back up from that incident with Cookson. And now Brad gets a bumper from Harberts there, and everybody checks up. A big moment down the back straightaway. Everybody trying to keep it straight over in 3 and 4 at the Showdown.
Still a ways to go. Under 120 laps to go this time by in the Snowball Showdown. Harberts side by side with the hurt Cookson. Cookson still trying to wield that machine, though, really trying to give the squeeze to the 80.
That he is, trying to get back up into a top 5 running position is Max Cookson, and over in turns number 2. Looks like Harberts, though, just a little bit better. Maybe some fresher rubber on that 80 machine. Keep in mind, a lot of different tire strategies throughout this field.
Yeah, right now, so many drivers have come down for repairs, for different pit cycles. Some have had to come down as many as 8 different times tonight. But right now, Cookson still trying to do something on the top, really still giving that squeeze. But the problem is, with how he was hit the last part, there's the chance of potential engine damage that's slowing down that corner exit speed to defend.
Certainly could be, and you can see the car loose. It hasn't been this loose all race long. He continues to slip back now under pressure from Garrett Conrath, the driver who finished P4 in the last chance race. Barely snuck his way in, had some moments in the last chance race, and now he is well inside the top 10 here in the Snowball Showdown. And oh, by the way, remember that driver that almost got lapped on the last green flag stint that we said was surprising, Ryan Kuhn? Well, he's cracked the top 10 as well.
He might get some luck, but Brookfield having a lucky save in 1 and 2. We stay green. He was about 45 degrees to the left, but was able to wheel it after getting a little bit loose with some help. Up in front of them, Briar LaPrade moves up to 4th position. Bates in trouble, though. He is stuck up top.
Boy, this is a very intense group of cars here, and McCollum making it 3 wide with Cookson in the middle. Pataska outside. Mullis in there as well. Right behind those guys, and they're crashing. McCollum into the wall hard.
Barber Ford caution flag is out, and my goodness. You could see that one coming. Remember, Cookson and Pataska had that contact. Pataska was the one who was sent into Cookson, and, well, there's the lack of slack.
What a bad break for the tobacco-free Florida 227 champion, Alex McCollum. He was hoping to have some good luck today. He fell back around the midpoint of this race, hasn't been able to rebound. It looks like he was on the verge of rebounding, but with that driver's side lick into turn 1, that's not going to help that cause any, as McCollum going to be severely damaged after that one.
All I can say is that was not pretty, Ben. That was not pretty.
Certainly wasn't, and that's, we mentioned it, 3 wide, just doesn't work off the corner. Maybe a bit aggressive move there by McCollum, but he had an opportunity there. He thought he could get by Cookson, and he did what he thought was right at the time. It just didn't happen to work out that way in the end of things. Nonetheless, though, it's Novak still up at the front of the field. Morgan sitting 2nd, 3rd to James Curle. Briar LaPrade is 4th, and Jacob Harberts, who has had a very up and down race. He started outside pole. He has dropped down as far as 26th, I do believe I saw him down there, and he's back up to P5.
Indeed, and it looks like Morgan accidentally stalled the car. That's why everyone's checking up there, as he'll catch up to the 2nd position. But, yeah, he got stuck on the top side in the first 20 laps, started falling off, got freight trained on from drivers on the high side in the first part of the race, but has since bounced back. He's kept the car relatively clean, just a bit of fender damage on the right side at the moment. And for that LeDuc Matthews Racing logoed machine, the 80 looking pretty well.
One of the cleanest cars in the field, I'll say. Right in front of Dylan Bates, who is having a good run tonight as well. He's got a big chunk taken out of the right front fender of that number 1 machine. And then behind them, Ryan Kuhn, who has snuck his way up to 7th. He's got 2 wins so far on the weekend. It's kind of in the question all race long. Is it going to be a McCollum or is it going to be a Kuhn show today? McCollum early on, but now he's faded and involved in this most recent incident. That's pretty much going to knock him out of contention. However, Ryan Kuhn has a chance to go for win number 3 in Snowball Showdown weekend, presented by Murder Creek Distillery.
Indeed, here there's still the chance for a lot of drivers here as we get all set to go with behind the official iRacing pace car. Lights are on top once again, have gone out. Novak, Morgan 1 and 2, Curle, LaPrade 3 and 4, Bates and Harberts 5 and 6, Kuhn and Conrad 7 and 8. Now it's going to become the question of who's going to pick up those sticks and try and go to victory lane. 107 to go. To the DRS restart zone we go. Novak watches as the pace car drops to the real world restart zone, this time a bit later. Green flag.
Green flag back in the air. Novak stacked him up on the start there and down into 1. He's got the lead again, but here comes Morgan. He closes up off of turn 2. Morgan, a little wiggle though there as he gets straight on the back straightaway. Still less than half a car length. Those separate the top 2 as they are 2 by 2 behind. It looks like we're still pacing.
Indeed, right now, it's still at a decent clip right now in the 16.5s, last time by at the stripe. And now the Barber Ford caution comes out again. This time, Canova and Carruth involved. Carruth immediately taking responsibility in the 13. This was at the back of the field once more as they went near 3 wide.
So Canova getting looped around in that very themed car here this evening. Carruth with the help there, and he'll go around. And looks like that'll be his second caution of the night. Looks like the 13 will go garage side now for the remainder of this event.
And it's unfortunate the luck for Carruth. He's the last car running on the racetrack at the moment, 26th. Currently scored 2 laps down. And remember, he had to go on top of somebody. But we did have a pit stop. Morgan ducked down into the lane.
Wow, and this is big news. Remember, the first time Morgan had to go to the rear or went to the rear, he didn't fare too well in that 112. He actually pitted from the lead, but he did so a lap early, and that gave him a black flag penalty. Now he heads to pit road, gets those fresh tires, and is getting set to head back out onto the racetrack. Hopefully, he won't see the same fate on this restart.
Depending on if he's taken 2 tires on some of these pit stops, he's had 5 total services to get some repairs done here. That's potentially one of his final scheduled ones. And it might be a track position move if it works out. That could pay big dividends because there's still about 1 set of full tires left for a majority of the field, including Novak and Curle.
Absolutely, and you just got to wonder when Novak is going to come down. We're getting almost to that 100 lap to go point. We'll probably restart around 100 laps to go. Here we're working 254 of 356 here at the 5 Flag Speedway. So Novak, boy, if you're on the team of that number 6 machine, when do you call him down? Is the next caution maybe the time, or do you want to wait until maybe 50 or so to go to have the best chance on the new set of rubber? It's all going to, we're all going to find out here in the final closing 100 laps, though, for sure. Novak, LaPrade up to second. Then it's Curle, Harberts, and Bates rounding out the top 5.
And that's a stout top 5, really, for the most part. When you think about it, I have to say this once more. Any sort of racing league or official race, this would be one of the strongest strength of fields in the entire season in iRacing. And this is for a major event such as this here.
Absolutely, and these, we've mentioned it many times, the top drivers in all of sim racing are here with us this afternoon, and had one question about Jimmy Mullis, where he sits. He sits P12 right now inside of row number 6, it looks like. So he's trying to work his way back up to the field. Pace car back to the pit road. Field back into the DRS restart zone and back underway here in the Snowball Showdown.
Good start by Novak. Better start by Brian LaPrade as he dives his way to the inside. Keeps within a car length. They're 2 and 3 wide in the midst of the Hornet's Nest as they make their way to turn 3.
A lot of racing still going on.
Oh, trouble. Pataska's up inside the wall. Able to save it using the wall to help balance the car and keep himself going. Pardon me, that was Chris Canfield, who was rubbed against the outside fence.
Canfield just not having to go after the connection issues a couple laps ago. Now trying to get back a couple of those laps that he has lost. Really starting to affect that machine. Here comes Ryan Kuhn. He's cracked the top 5, make it top 4, and on the move for the driver to 72.
And he's tried different strategies all race. Can this one work for him? On the back bumper of Curle, the 151 trying to keep up in front while Kuhn tries to diamond it. Will he use the bumpers? No, as he gets the run down the back stretch. Tries to outbrake Curle into the entry and does. Curle gives him the space.
If I'm not mistaken, Kuhn may be on fresher tires than the drivers in front. And for the lead, Briar LaPrade looking to take it away from Zach Novak. They'll go side by side to the back straightaway, door to door racing for the biggest prize in online short track racing.
Remember, Kuhn pit after about 50 or so laps. He is one of the earliest tire stint drivers now. LaPrade led that time by the strike. Novak stuck on the top side. LaPrade gets clear as he finally gets up to the point for the first time today in the JDR graphics machine. But he's got a fresh tire driver in Kuhn right up his tailpipe.
Kuhn's got 2 wins. He wants to make it 3 this weekend, and he's to the inside. And if he gets by the 19, it's bye-bye into the sunset here at Pensacola. Almost contact down in the 3 between the top 2.
Kuhn slides up. He'll lead his first lap of the Snowball Showdown. 92 net laps to go this upcoming time by. LaPrade drops to second. In the lead, Ryan Kuhn back to single file as they continue to fight side by side for 5th.
Ryan Kuhn was almost a lap down about 20, 30, 40 laps ago. Now he's found himself in the lead and running away with it at the Snowball Showdown as he made the right call in the final 100 laps of this event.
It's a massive gamble, but he is 0.2 of a second quicker, Ben. That is the gamble he's hoping pays off to where they get a long green flag run maybe, or at least a caution precaution. Right now, though, he is trying to take off and run away in the sunset.
That he is. I'm keeping my eye on another battle back here just outside the top 5, and a caution again, a Barber Ford caution on the racetrack. This time it's over in turn 4, involving an early race leader, Max Cookson.
2 Glovebox Motorsports machines in turn 4's inside wall, as it looked like that time Blanchard that time rode the left rear quarter panel for the entry of turn 3, then slipped up and hit him.
Just another instance of close racing, biting these drivers. Again, a lot of, there's a good way to bump these cars, and then there's a bad way, and then that's a perfect example of a bad and a way not to make contact here at the Five Flag Speedway.
Here's the concern, though, in live action. Drivers are pitting. Curle stays out on the racetrack. LaPrade and Novak do come in along with Harberts. And now this is where the strategy game comes out with 88 to go.
So, have you made your pick yet, or are we still up in the air?
Right now, all the picks have been flying up in the air for about actually 200 laps now.
Oh boy, it's about to get fun now, as a lot of these drivers coming in for their final pit stop of the race. Mullis is down this time as well in that number 40 machine. He's taking 4 tires on that 40. Novak out first in that number 6, but he is going to have a lot of drivers in front of him on old tires, maybe upwards of 20. He's going to have to get by.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, but remember, there are still drivers who have to pit still more so. Kuhn, remember, on the different tire strategy, he's used up his sets. Curle, he's looking to try and dice things up. He's looking to try and get the freshest tires. Remember, that's how he lost the Pro Late Model race in the tobacco-free Florida 227 last night. And guys such as everyone else have had multiple repairs done throughout the race.
How about Alex Mccollum? We wrote him off when he got turned into the wall just a couple cautions ago. He sits P6, and I tell you what, that car does not have a straight corner on it anywhere. He has definitely seen his fair share of contact since he dropped back from the lead. Maybe he's starting to feel something in that machine. He sits 6th right now. Dallas Pataska sits 7th, who has made a good rebound there as well.
Yeah, but here's the gamble, though, with Kuhn. He's hoping this, you would have to think that the hope is, please be a caution precaution for a little bit for the tires to equalize, because if it doesn't and we get a long run, say, I don't know, 60 laps, he's going to potentially get eaten up alive like a shark. Or
that's true.
Like he's being eaten by a shark, rather.
Yeah, that's true. But that being said, Looks like Novak going to be the first one on 4 fresh tires. He is lining up P16 on this restart. Still 24 cars on the lead lap here on lap 272 of the Snowball Showdown. So buckle up. Novak's got to drive. Kuhn is going to just get out in front and hope everything goes haywire behind him.
Once again to the DRS restart zone. Kuhn and Curle bring them out of turn 4. Green flags back out. We're racing once again from 5 flags, and another good jump by the 72 machine. The side-by-side continues for third, but Baldwin, to his highest point of the race, slides up for third.
That he does, and he's trying to bring Gluchacki with them. Almost some contact there, all 4, as they get real tight. Keeping an eye on Novak and the rest of the guys who took 4 tires. They're in a big traffic jam at the back of the field now, and that's what we were kind of expecting. Slower cars in front on the old tires. Newer tires and Chun up in front of those guys. Almost around, but he's back straight. We stay green. It's getting wild in the mid-pack.
Oh, contact from McCollum getting hit by Plot as he tried to come down. That previous contact in 3 and 4 was seen when Cox caused the checkup. McCollum tapped the wall down the back straight away. He's still trying to defend for the 9th position hard as much as he can, as everyone's stacking up for third on back.
Novak has gotten caught on the outside line. He's dropped outside the top 20 for the 2019 NASCAR champion. And right in front of Novak goes Briar LaPrade hard into the wall.
Caution flag once again, the Barber Ford caution flag. That time, it was a dicey one, to say the least. That went right across, I believe, Novak's nose.
I mean, you couldn't have slid a credit card between LaPrade's rear bumper and Novak's front bumper, and Novak may be thinking, was that the right move to come down pit road, or have I got myself in a hornet's nest that it's going to be hard to dig out of?
Yeah, Novak, lucky, very lucky, to not have any damage right there on his number 6 machine, to say the very least. But Dalton Baldwin in all of that, he's up to second. James Curle, as the caution flag came out, started to bobble around and lose some spots. He's elected to take fresh tires, about a 10-lap difference.
Wow, so now Curle's going to go back to the hornet's nest back at the back of the field, and it's wild back there. He can ask Mullis and Novak and all the other drivers back there. But how about Dalton Baldwin? Maybe the sleeper here in the Snowball Showdown. We haven't talked much about him all weekend, other than the fact that he's got a beautiful paint scheme on that number 48 machine. But here he is, sitting second. And for the most part, he's had a decent run. He qualified 19th. He's been up inside the top 10 a good portion of the race, especially after rebounding from that earlier incident where he found himself up and into the outside wall in one of the first Barber Ford cautions.
Indeed here. And again, let's mention some of these drivers again. Plus 17 for Baldwin here. He's gotten involved in an incident or two, yes. But that 48... gonna get interesting.
That it is. I mean, this is the excitement that the tires in the pits allow this race to develop. I mean, it is so many strategies can take place over 356 laps. We haven't gotten to a competition caution so far tonight. We came close a couple times with the 80 green flag lap stints, but for the most part, each one of these runs have been spread out just enough by a caution, a fair or a random Barber Ford caution here and there to kind of really mix things up. And there's so many different strategies throughout this field. It's hard for us to keep up with them. We're doing the best we can to relay the info to you guys, the viewers. But I mean, there is not a one car on this racetrack, maybe 2 cars on this racetrack that have the same tire strategy. Other than that, everybody has pitted at different times of this race.
Indeed here, and it's going to get interesting to remember the race distance is also determined by the car number, as you talked about a little bit before. Some of the contenders, remind you, are in the 100s here, so imagine a 400 lap Snowball Showdown.
Yeah, that would be crazy. If Kuhn were to win it, it'd be 372 laps next year, adding a couple of laps onto the 356 in honor of Brandon Wilkinson, our champion last year. A lot of these guys are hoping it's Dylan Bates back there in the 1 with the 301 next year. 356 laps, a long way, long distance here, 5 Flag Speedway. Nonetheless, though, Green flag back in the air, back into the DRS restart zone. We're back underway as the sun begins to set.
Cars are going 3 wide, including Max Cooks in the back of the field, but they're still going contact. Jerry Glenn. Cars are saving into the back of the field. 3-4 wide down the back stretch. We still remain green. They nearly wrecked in a 3 wide situation. Cookson wants to go. He got up to 12 for the move. The fight for seconds on. Gluchecki. Barber Ford caution is out. That's where the back is at. Parker Brookfield spun around on the front stretch, and they were still 3 wide.
Yeah, after all that, I thought we were going to make it through it. It did not. They were still beating and banging over in turn 4, and Brookfield going to go around to put us under this caution period. That's his second time going around on the front stretch that I can recall, as that happened with the 3 wide incident over in turn number 4.
Still 72 laps to go here, and the more this continues to build up, the more Ryan Kuhn's decision might work out, because if it continues to bundle up the field and guys like Novak are in 15th, he's in a great spot.
That he is. You know, Kuhn, he's played the strategy right a couple times this weekend. He knows how to do this. He's done it on the real side of things as well as on the sim side of things. But if I'm Kuhn, I'm watching that driver who sits third, who has made it up onto the podium yet again. It has been a game of back to front for Devin Morgan. I guarantee you he has passed more cars throughout this race than half the field has. Morgan has been from the back to the front so many times it's hard to keep up, and now he's back up to third.
Indeed, and people have been saying he might be one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, if not the fastest, because remember, he shot through the field in under 40 laps of that 75-lap last chance race after his car with the replacement driver did not make the show. Then in this race has come from the back now 3 times. I don't think I've seen that really too much in a while.
Yeah, it's been not a picture-perfect day for Morgan, but as far as passing cars, I mean, he has done a great job of doing that. And now if he could just get out in front and do the same, but with lap cars, I think that's where he would be preferred. But for Morgan, he's been in a couple incidents. He's got the fenders wrinkled up. He's had a up and down race, but as far as passing cars goes, I mean, he's had a stellar day.
Indeed, here still behind the iRacing official pace car here, but as we approach the 68 laps to go mark, you asked, who's my pick at that point? Who's your picks at this moment?
Well, let's see. We have 23 cars still on the lead lap. If Blanchard gets his lap back, we'll have 24. And, you know, I'm going to go with about 12 of those cars, give or take front or half of the field, with the shot still to win this thing.
We'll see who's going to take the checker flag.
Did that narrow it down enough for you?
Somewhat. Basically throwing darts at a board, essentially, or finding a needle in a haystack.
Pretty much.
But these drivers looking to find a trophy in that haystack for the Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery. Ryan Kuhn in control of the field on the inside, Dalton Baldwin on the outside in the DRS restart zone. Green flag is out. They check up behind him. Morgan gave Kuhn a shot. Cox also got a shot in that checkup.
That he did, and down into turn 1, the top 4 from that checkup get single file, make it top 5, and the first battle is going to be for P6. Alex McCollum trying to get it away from the guy who raced in through the last chance race, Garrett Conrad. They'll go side by side on the front straightaway. Big Hornet's Nest continuing to rage on behind them. Now it's Mullis and Novak on the outskirts of a sandwich there with Stephen Chun. Plot gets a piece of the wall in front of those two. They're trying to make it through the field and win the Snowball Showdown.
Morgan got through for second place as it's all shaping out, but absolute craziness throughout this field. Pataska, where did he come from, wants third. Mullis, he's going 3 wide, trying to attack Novak from the quarter panel, as here comes Curle now to the inside of Mullis. This is all for 11th on back.
And Curle's got the freshest tires in the field right now. Keep that in mind as we close in on lap 300 of this race. For P2, though, here comes Dallas Pataska that's P3 to the inside of Dalton Baldwin.
Able to get clear of Baldwin's number 48 machine. So Tyler Cox now trying to get the next car to attack in the P5 position. But Alex McCollum up to 6th spot, trying to hold off 2 different lines of traffic. That's where Novak, Mullis, and company are just behind.
That they are. Novak getting around the driver he made contact with for the lead in this race earlier in the event. Max Cookson and now Mullis to the inside of Conrath. Mullis is now starting to move. They were logging the green flag laps at 40. Looks like a rocket ship mid-pack.
61 to go in the Snowball Showdown. Mullis gets clear, outcharges Conrath to the bottom of the line. Harberts is the next car up for Mullis to try and attack. He's slipping about a half car length up and trying to diamond it off the corner, while Mullis is still attacking the corners a bit more flat to try and get to the bottom, and does.
He'll get to the inside of Harberts, but Harberts has been one of the hardest cars to pass all race long. Does he put up a fight with Mullis? I think if he does, Mullis may give him the door. Mullis is on the move. He's trying to win the Snowball Showdown and doesn't want anybody to get in his way.
Now the drivers trying to cut their way up to the field, and you have to wonder what Kuhn's thinking right now. The pace for Devin Morgan, a 10th quicker last time by. The difference, about 2 car lengths down the front stretch. That time by, another couple 100s closed up by the 112.
It is getting close up at the front and for the lead. Devin Morgan trying to find his way back to the lead. He hasn't been there since earlier in this race when he made the mistake by pitting a lap too early. Lap 300, it's 56 laps to go. Thanks to Brandon Wilkinson, last year's champion. 56 to go this time at the line.
No more competition yells if we get a long run. These drivers will race to the finish if it stays green. Morgan evening out this time with Kuhn. Everyone else equaling out except for Mullis. He was able to get by Cox to get to the top 5, and they're still shuffling, though, a few spots behind them for 9th.
Keep your eye on that 40 machine. He is on the move. He's bringing Novak in the 6 with him, and Curle in the 151 as well. Again, Curle, freshest tires on the track. At least of the top runners, so keep your eye on the 151. He's just inside the top 10, and he is on the move, but only now about 55 laps to go.
Still anything can happen. Bottom is left open by Tyler Cox now. Harberts and Novak want to go through the hole. Harberts trying to keep it open, can't do so. Meanwhile, Baldwin just let go Jimmy Mullis for P number 4 on the circuit. So everybody is moving their way up the lineup to try and fight for this win.
That they are. Novak working around the outside of the racetrack the long way. We've seen him do this multiple times this afternoon, and he's making it happen again around the outside of Harberts and trying to do the same with Tyler Cox.
Nearly 3 wide as Cox tried to diamond it down, but Harberts was there. Now he tries to get the 2 lines to fight. Novak, however, outbreaks the 4 into corner entry, forces Cox off the corner off of 4, and Novak now on the top with Curle following suit.
That is the absolute definition of a power move by Zach Novak, and he's bringing James Curle with him. These guys are on the freshest rubber. They're trying to run down the top 3. Mullis is going to be the first one to get there, and he'll have to challenge Dallas Pataska.
What will Dallas Pataska do is the question now with the 23 machine. That dynamic Autosports machine trying to hold on in front of Jimmy Mullis. Mullis last time by recording a 16.236. That was quicker than the rest of the top 3. Pataska lets him go. It looks like Pataska knows the pace is much quicker for Mullis at the moment as he is trying to charge 1.79 seconds to the lead.
Less than 50 to go in the second annual Snowball Showdown. It's been a rocky afternoon for many, but it's now getting down to crunch time and that moment where we decide a champion here in the 2019 edition presented by Murder Creek Distillery.
Who's going to come away with it is the big time question. Mullis gained another 10th last time by making half a 10th, but the fastest driver on the track, mind you, is Curle along with Novak. Curle, the freshest tires by far with the 10-lap difference. Novak also on the same set in cycle as Jimmy Mullis. They're now lined up behind Dalton Baldwin, who has been letting cars go.
And we'll see if Baldwin does the same for Novak. Baldwin a little bit sideways off turn 4, and that number 48. Here comes Novak to the bumper. Novak almost applies the bumper in 1 and 2. Baldwin goes up the racetrack, very sportsmanlike. He knows that Novak is faster. He's going to let him go down in 3 and 4.
Will he? Yeah, he has to back off the gas to the top side. Will he let him in 1 and 2 now? No, he's actually going to try and fight it. Baldwin doesn't want to lose the top 5 position at the edge of the money spots possibly, as now Novak tries to ride the bottom. Curle still trying to follow the 6 and help him with the draft.
So I thought Baldwin would give it to Novak. Just kind of pull over, but like you said, not going to. He's going to try and finish top 5 here in the Snowball Showdown. Not going to happen today, though. It looks like if this run continues to go on. Move Novak to P5. Curle now to P6 as he gets by the 48 machine and clears him into 1.
So Baldwin gives up the ghost, falls back to 7th spot. By the way, Kuhn is now quicker than Morgan. He is pulled away by 3/10 in the past few laps, so Kuhn has found some grip.
That he has, and Mullis is slowly but surely chipping away, but he's going to have to get around Morgan, and he's going to have to get around Kuhn if he can make it to him in the final 40 laps of the Snowball Showdown.
Right now, the top 5, Kuhn, Morgan, Mullis, Pataska, and Novak. Which of those will come up in front is going to be the major question of the night. Mullis, not the fastest though. It was James Curle who was faster than everybody else last time buying the freshest tires, and he's trying to use the half lane up quicker than Novak. The problem is, he just can't get by the 6.
That it is. He's going to need a mistake out of Novak. Look at Novak work the wheel down the back straightaway off turn 2. That car is starting to loosen up for the driver of the number 6. Curl down the front straightaway all over the rear bumper as the sun begins to set on the horizon. Now 3 and 4, almost full shade, providing full grip, about as much grip as they've had all race down in 3 and 4.
Indeed, Curle though moves up to the top. Can he get to the quarter panel? No, Barber for caution flag is out. Tyler Cox turned around, and this is a huge one with 37 to go. Oh man, this is going to bunch us up again.
Yeah, buckle that seatbelt as Conrath and Cox were going for a spot there just outside the top 10. They come together, and Cox gets the worst of it, spinning around on the back straightaway. Almost had it saved there, but overcorrected and loops it around, putting us under the Barber Ford caution. Under 40 to go here in the Snowball Showdown.
Drivers such as McCollum electing to come down, try and repair some damage possibly now, with the 36 lap to go mark for these leaders, but oh my goodness. With 22 drivers still in the lead lap, mind you, Ryan Kuhn's probably thinking, oh boy, now we've got some possible trouble, because while he was pulling away from Morgan, Mullis, Pataska, and Co. were reeling him in.
Got a quick update on Alex McCollum. He is taking right side tires. He may have had one set left in the pits. Where does he come out, though? Where does he stack up? And does he have enough time to put those to use in the final laps of this race?
Yeah, that's going to be a massive thing, too, because he's going to be potentially losing just the 2 tires. They ran at, what, 30 laps or so on that cycle, 20-plus laps? Nope. So that's going to be a massive difference at the very least.
We saw, though, earlier in the race, Stephen Chun took the 2 right side tires. He was able to keep with the lead pack for a good 20 or so laps. Max Cookson comes down to pit road. He's got the left sides up on his number 39 machine.
So it looks like some of them electing to do something. And Cookson was able to finally fix the front end. That's the bright side, at least, if you're a fan of Glovebox Motorsports drivers. However, he is in 22nd last time by, make it 23rd as he and back up the grid as he passes more drivers with repairs.
Almost the last car on the lead lap. Maybe it's just a last-ditch effort for drivers like Cookson and McCollum here to try and make their way up through the field to maybe have a shot at winning this thing. But for the drivers up front, Kuhn, Morgan, Mullis, Pataska, Novak, Curle. That's the top 6. Listen to those names. What names we have running at the top of the field here in the final stages of this race.
Coming towards the 1 to go signal. Everybody tightening up. 32 laps to go for the Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distilleries. Who is going to take the checkered? Still a long, long way in short track racing. The DRS restart zone sees Kuhn go off and away. Green flag is back out. Jimmy Mullis wants second.
That he does, and he's to the inside of Morgan to the back straightaway. Morgan trying to fight on the outside, but he just doesn't have the tires.
Oh, trouble down the back stretch. Conrad around, saves it, gets spun around.
Oh,
Barber Ford caution as they stack up in turn 4 as well. A second big one.
That one started, it looked like Parker Brookfield again going around on the front stretch here. It happened, although in front of him with Justin Trombley in that 45. He gets the bumper from Derek Gluchacki, turning him around from P11.
So 2 different incidents there. You have the first one in 3 and 4. I mean, in the entrance of turn 3, rather, I should say. Then you have the one on the exit of turn 4. That is a lot for these drivers to have to dodge.
Yeah, a lot of action around the racetrack. Actually, Conrad got into Gluchacki, and Gluchacki ended up getting into the car that turned around in turn 4. So Gluchacki was all over that caution, got a piece of it from just about every spectrum as Conrad gets turned back around by Jerry Glenn. There was some checkup that got Jerry Glenn turned around. Tyler Cox was involved. A lot of action down in 3 and 4 on the backstretch to bring out that Barber Ford caution.
But now it's starting to have the Jaws. Now I should rephrase. Now the Jaws music is starting to play for Ryan Kuhn, possibly because look who's on his outside on this upcoming start. Jimmy Mullis is in second, and Zach Novak is in fourth.
That he is, and you know, James Curle back in P6. Don't count him out yet. And I think if you're these guys with the fresh tires, the outside line going to be better for you on this restart if you can get moving and nobody slides up in front of you.
Still coming to 28 laps to go here. At this point, what do you do if you're many of these drivers in the field? You have Kuhn on old tires. You have Mullis on much fresher tires. What do you do?
If you're Kuhn, you got to get the restart of your life. You got to jump out and get some clean air, get some distance between you and Mullis, make him run you down, and then when he gets there, make that car as wide as possible. If you're Jimmy Mullis, you got to get to Kuhn. You got to pass him cleanly. You don't want another EOL penalty for causing an incident or even a racing incident that sends you to the back of the pack. If you're Zach Novak, you got to try and get up to P3 as quick as possible. And if you're James Curle, you got to try and get around 5 other cars in front of you to win the biggest short track race of the year.
Indeed, right now as Ryan Kuhn tucks up behind the iRacing pace cars, they get ready for the one-to-go signal. Kuhn, see if he elects to choose the bottom or the top, elects to stay on the bottom side for this restart. No one has even made a move up to the top for a start all night long for this event.
And that kind of surprises me. If I was Kuhn, I would have put Mullis down on the bottom side of the racetrack here for this restart. But Kuhn is in control, and he's got a plan, and he's coming to 26 laps to go. 26 circuits around the 5 Flag Speedway separate one of these drivers and the biggest short track win of their career. Green flag is back in the air. We're back underway. Morgan gets a good jump, and he puts it inside of Mullis down into 1.
Bit of a bobble. The nose starting to shuffle for Morgan. Better run by Mullis down the back straightaway. He tries to respond by squeezing in 3 and 4. They're 3 wide behind him. Max Cookson is a man on a mission. He's not afraid to do the ballsiest of moves right now.
Remember, he's got fresh tires on that 39, but he gets a piece of the wall there, and they're spinning. It's James Curle around, and he takes out the 2 on fresh tires.
Another Barber Ford caution flag, and my. That time, a bit of a tap that time for James Curle along the wall. He checked up for Zach Novak, and nowhere for Pataska to girl as everybody else stacked up in turn 3 entry. Wow.
Unbelievable turn of events there down the back straightaway as it is getting down to crunch time here in the Snowball Showdown. Everybody fighting for every piece of real estate on the racetrack, and it is getting crazy here up at the front of the field and even mid-pack there as you saw the 3 wide.
Yeah, I think these drivers know it's money time, but you also at the same time need to think, yeah, there's going to be 20 laps, under 20 to go when we start again, but you need a car to be able to make it to the finish line. You can't Freddie Flintstone it.
Yeah, absolutely. And boy, these are really some trying times here in the final laps of this race. If you're Kuhn, you're loving the cautions. If you're Mullis, you're saying, man, I have got to get some green flag laps in here to have a shot at going to victory lane here at Five Flag Speedway and in the Snowball Showdown.
Absolutely agree with you at this point. Oh man, at this point. As now, still lined up 21 laps to go this upcoming time by... Let's give a shout out again to the biggest movers again real quick here, because Steven Chun, he's been able to avoid a lot of the mayhem now in these past 30 or so laps. He is now plus 20 still from his starting position tonight.
That he has, and it's been a great run for Morgan. It's been a great run for Baldwin back in P5. He's up, a considerable amount, 14 spots. Brookfield, he's up from P21 to P9 inside the top 10 there. So a lot of these guys having a good run. They just need to finish it off. By the way, the highest starting position inside this top 3 was 10th, and that went to Jimmy Mullis. He sits second right now. Devin Morgan started 28th. Ryan Kuhn started 12th in this event. Actually, you have to go back to way back to P7 to find somebody who started inside the top 5, and that was Jacob Harberts.
Indeed, right now. So these cars coming around to 20 to go now. This is going to get fun. Well, if it hasn't been fun already, the lights are on top of the pace car here. This could get interesting.
Don't know if fun is going to be the right word for this. It's going to be a very hectic restart here. It's going to be wild for these drivers. The track has entered a stage now of where the sun is beginning to set. A lot of the tracks under shade. It's really changing as this race progresses, but we're in the final closing stages. 19 laps to go from Five Flag Speedway. Killer restart from Mullis.
His best one of the night, but the wrecking in turn 1. Barber Ford caution. This one involves Morgan. Still spinning. Kuhn gets turned around by Plot. And oh my goodness, you can see that one coming. Take a look at this on the LSR TV replay as Curle Morgan had a slow start, and Baldwin tried to make it 3 wide.
May have spun the tires there, and Baldwin just getting everything. Trying to get everything he can here in the final laps of this prestigious race, just to the inside. And I don't know if Morgan maybe went down the block or maybe got jacked up a little bit there. Nonetheless, though, contact made, and boy, did Zach Novak barely escape damage there. But poor Dylan Bates, just nowhere to go. He got creamed there in that incident.
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong. Well, Bates, rather, in that situation was the innocent bystander and all that, and then everyone else stacked up and spun. But Morgan's still going to stay in the top 5, but with even more potential damage to that, especially to the right rear at the moment. But the suspension also looks like it might be a touch bit skewed. I don't know at this point for Morgan. There's still 16 to go.
Yeah, that was a hard hit for Morgan up and into the wall. The big beneficiary of this, even though he was just involved in that prior caution, Max Cookson. Looks like he'll restart P4. And remember, he's got fresh tires on that machine.
Yeah, now Cookson somehow might come away with this one, yeah. I don't think I would have expected that one with the way that car has been looking now, and especially since he's re-crumpled up the front nose. This race has had it all. This has been a melodramatic race.
That it has, and Devin Morgan not wanting to adhere to the penalty. He is being charged with the caution along with Dalton Baldwin there, calling it a racing deal. That'll put Alex McCollum up to P5 for this restart.
Indeed here, so gonna get interesting can be. Again, Ryan Kuhn is your leader, Jimmy Mullis in second, Zach Novak in third, Max Cookson in fourth, Devin Morgan in fifth, with McCollum, Harberts, Brookfield, Chun, and Gluchacki inside the top 10 positions. One to go once again behind the iRacing official Ford Mustang pace car. And what has been a race where you want to be buckled up right inside your seat and stay there, whether you're in the car at home.
Absolutely, and I had to go confirm with the race control. I called that wrong. Morgan did not get charged with the caution there. He has got some damage, though, and he's going to be maybe a little bit slow on the start here. Back to the DRS restart zone, back up through the gears in the for the field for the Snowball Showdown. We're back underway.
Good start again by Moas. Better start from Novak. Brookfield spun around for the Barber Ford caution. And another yellow flag. And now this will take us to under 10 to go as both him and Campbell are stopped.
A lot of net code, it looked like there, with the 27 and the 112. Trying to get another view of it here, and that's what it was. A lot of net code there as those two kind of come together. But
they were 3 wide.
Yeah, still 3 wide. Not a lot of room, but the net code certainly didn't help the situation.
Indeed, it didn't there, as Gluchacki losing all of his spots in the process there, just about, in that he drops back to 9th position on the racetrack as he got a car stuck along the right front, but didn't really damage that 103. Thank goodness for him, if you're a fan of him.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, let's restack the field up front. It's Ryan Kuhn, who is on the oldest set of tires inside the top 5. He is just thanking everybody above for all these cautions back to back to back. It's really helping his case out, and it's really going to help him out now with under 10 to go. Then you have Jimmy Mullis, who has got fresher tires than Kuhn, but not the freshest tires in the field. Freshest tires in the field go to Max Cookson and Alex McCollum, who sit P3, P5, and then wedged in between them, you have Zach Novak, the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series champion from this last year.
Yeah, that is a stout top position mark, but somebody's got to win this race. Somebody at this point. It's question is it going to be Kuhn? Is it going to be Moas? Is it going to be Cookson? Is it going to be anyone? Because we've seen how aggressive Cookson has been on all of these starts. He is not afraid to take it 3 wide up the middle if he has to.
Absolutely, and to win the Snowball Showdown, you're going to you'd move your grandmother out of the way to win this race. So you're going to see Cookson be really aggressive here on the start. He's going to be starting right behind Ryan Kuhn, and if he gets a good jump down into turn 1, there's no telling what could happen.
Indeed, here, and some drivers might be thinking, please, just get me the chance to come home with this. My goodness. I don't know what to really say. Coming to 8 laps to go. Someone's going to take home this checker flag for the Snowball Showdown.
We'll restart with 7 to go. 7 laps. As of now, we have 3 attempts at the green-white checkered if we need to use them, and don't throw those out the window quite yet. 7 laps to go right now in the Snowball Showdown. That's still unofficial, depending on if we need a green-white checkered. Ryan Kuhn, Jimmy Mullis, Max Cookson, Zach Novak, and Alex McCollum. That's the top 5. Green flag back in the air. Good restart for Mullis.
And a good start for Kuhn as well. Cookson still side by side with Novak for P3. As Cookson tries to do as much as he can, nearly hitting the wall that time. Novak with the squeeze. As Glenn gets sent hard into turn 3, but able to save it. We stay green.
Good battle for that 3rd spot. Goes to Max Cookson. Here comes Mullis. He's got to run to the back straightaway. Mullis is closing in on Kuhn. Does he have enough time? This time by off corner number 4. 5 more circuits around the half mile here at 5 Flag Speedway.
Last time by Kuhn the quickest. That previous time by the stripe, it was Cookson. Cookson setting the fastest lap of race, and he takes lap the wall with the right front. Still powers his way off the corner. They are separated by a quarter car length apiece for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Top 3 all tail to nose, putting on a great battle to the end of this one. Go, Mullis is there on the bumper. Mullis is to the bumper. 3 to go this time by at 5 Flag Speedway. He puts the bumper to Kuhn, scoots him up the racetrack, and Jimmy Mullis takes the lead.
Now will Cookson use a bumper? He does! Oh! He hits Mullis. Mullis slides up the track. Here comes Max Cookson. He
Oh,
gets
they
hooked by
get
Mois.
together.
They hit the wall hard. Cookson saves it. Mois saves it in turn 3, and Ryan Kuhn retakes the lead. 2 to go.
Kuhn back by with 2 to go, but he's got a hungry Zach Novak now closing in on him. Can Novak get there in time? White flag in the air, and it couldn't get here any sooner for Ryan Kuhn. Final lap in the
Cars are
Snowball
wrecking.
Showdown. We get the yellow before the line.
And they're wrecking in a massive one up the exit of turn 4, just feet away from the checker flag. The Barber Ford caution comes out as they stacked up behind Cookson. Cookson getting bumped. Cookson noses it in the wall, and they spin off 4.
That is unbelievable.
What in the... This has been something. You got, first of all, the massive collisions between Mois and Cookson. And then you've got that. And someone's got to control tempers here at this point as Cookson slams it hard into the pits and checks up and stops the car.
Cookson not happy with the way this restart here, and wow.
I think we're both speechless at this point.
Yeah. We should be talking about what's going on the racetrack, but there are no words. Ryan Kuhn, talk about... I bet it was mere inches separating him and that the white flag at the line.
Yeah.
Between him and one of the biggest short track wins in all of his online career. Zach Novak was setting up in his head how he was going to approach the white flag lap. Now they've got 2 laps to try and finish this race off, and then we're going into overtime here in the Snowball Showdown.
Who do you have winning this race now, Kuhn, Novak, or McCollum? Because they're in the best shots to make a pass.
Oh man, it's going to be crazy. If Kuhn's going to have the restart of his career right here. Novak the same, and I think Novak's best shot at getting this win is going to be if Kuhn makes a mistake down in 1 and 2, maybe 3 and 4 on that 2 to go lap. It then allows Novak to close up. Novak, we've seen, hasn't been able to get going on the restarts as good as the competitors around him. And oh, by the way, you still got Alex Mccollum back there in 3rd with 2 fresh tires and a demolished number 10 machine.
Still, remember, there are 3 green-white checkered attempts available. If you get to the white flag, the race is official. Able to make it to the finish. If there's any flag before the white flag, all the drivers will bunch up. If we get to a 3rd GWC and say there's a delayed yellow, or we don't make it to the flag, the race is then official. Ryan Kuhn is in the lead for the 1st GWC and the Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery. Zach Novak 2nd as they go out of the DRS restart zone. 2 laps to decide it. Who will take it home?
Novak got a killer restart, but got a little tight down in turns 1 and 2. He's got now a lap and a half to try and do it. Down into 3 and 4. Kuhn off of turn 4. He'll see the white flag. He'll cross the stripe, and we're on the last lap here in Pensacola for Ryan Kuhn. It's been a weekend of dream weekend here in Pensacola, and through 3 and 4, make it 372 next year. Ryan Kuhn wins the Snowball Showdown.
A heck of a run for Ryan Kuhn. A heck of a strategy. Novak 2nd, McCollum 3rd, Harberts and Gluchaki round out the top 5. I don't think this is how Kuhn wanted to draw it up, but man, oh man, this will be his 3rd victory out of 5 on the weekend.
What a drive by Ryan Kuhn. We had an incident there at the end of this thing where Mullis got a bump from both Cox and Plott, spinning him from the 6th position and putting a lot of drivers up on their roof and in a big moment on the front straightaway. But for Ryan Kuhn, he is the champion of the Snowball Showdown. And boy, some driver's going to be at his throat. Next year's race going to be 372 laps here at 5 Flag Speedway.
Indeed, as he finishes up his burnouts, let's take a look at your Ford Entertainment Group full race results. For tonight's action, Ryan Kuhn wins the Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery over Zach Novak by 0.8187 at the checker flag. Alex McCollum finished third, Jacob Harberts in fourth, with Derek Luchaki plus 10 in fifth. Garrett Conrath, one of the drivers for the Last Chance race, finished in sixth, with Dylan Canova in seventh. Parker Brookfield, Kason Plott, and Jimmy Mullis rounded out your top 10.
Then it's Richard Reagan Jr. coming from P30 to 11, P32 to P12 for Stephen Chun. Devin Morgan, he gets home in 13th position. 14th to Jerry Glenn, Dalton Baldwin 15th. 16th to Tyler Cox, 17th to Dylan Bates, 18th to Ryan Campbell, Justin Trombley, and James Curle round out the top 20.
21st, Max Cookson 6 laps down. Ryan Blanchard 7 down in 22nd. Chris Canfield 19 down in 23rd after the technical issue. He was in the top 10 at one point. Dallas Pataska 24th. RS Center 25th. Brian LaPrade in 26th where he started, with Roger Carew 27th. Frederick Laroussier in 28th, with Tehan Denk in 29th. Brandon Holder rounded out the top 30. Dylan Slider, Jake Fromke, and Colin Allman rounded out the field. That's been a look at your FEG full race results. FEG PC has been serving the iRacing community with custom-built affordable computers specifically built and tuned for iRacing. Your PC will come with everything you need preloaded so you can get racing as soon as it hits your doorstep. Get yours today. Enjoy the 600-plus iRacers already enjoying an FEG PC, with PCs to fit $540 on up available. Visit FEGPC.net and mention the code LSRTB10 and get your build quoted tonight. It was not a pretty one. But for Ryan Kuhn, he takes home the victory. Ryan, I don't know if this is the way you wanted to draw it up, but you came home as the winner with the big money. How do you feel?
Oh my God, take him when you can get him. That's unbelievable, man. To win 3 out of the 5 this week. Never thought that would have happened coming into this week, and worst finish at third. Oh my God, I'm speechless. That's unbelievable.
Absolutely. What was going through your head after you took the lead in the closing 100 laps of this race, and then the caution breed caution started to build upon?
I only took one set of my 2 tires, and I was trying to play strategy for the first 200, and I only took fuel. A few of my stops, and only one of the stops I took tires. I took rights, and then I came back and to take lefts. And then cautions breed cautions, and I was going to pit if we had a really long run, but I saw the laps were winding down. We kept getting cautions, so I said, all right, I'm just going to stay out. And, man, dude, the battle at the Bullring a couple years back and this one, probably the 2 biggest short track races in all of iRacing. That's unbelievable. Thanks to Ben for putting this on, Ben and Robert. These guys, everyone at LSR TV, you guys do an unbelievable job at broadcasting this event. And, wow, that's crazy.
It was crazy indeed. And, of course, remember, this race will be relapped to 372 laps in your number's honor. How does that make you feel, knowing you'll have that memory as well for your team after this one?
Oh, that's huge. After finishing third last year and we came over the win this year, I mean, I think the worst finish in any of the Showdown races was I think it was 6th in the late model race last year. But man, I've had some really good luck in this series.
Indeed you did, but who do you want to thank for winning your $600 tonight?
Everett's Auto Parts, Brenner's Liquors, Modern Auto Body, my whole family, everyone for racing me clean there at the end of that race, and Alex McCollum, Max Cookson, Tyler Cox, we're all working together that race, and I can't believe we came home with that one.
Congratulations on the win. By the way, I think you blew your engine while in the car here. Congratulations either way.
Thank you very much.
That was Ryan Kuhn taking home the 2nd annual Snowball Showdown presented by Murder Creek Distillery. A stellar victory, but the man who finished 2nd is standing by with Ben Kilcrease. Ben?
oh so close, and an up and down race for Zach Novak all night, or all afternoon long, I should say, as we close into nighttime here in Pensacola. Zach, talk about those final few restarts and just what you needed on the remainder, say 10 or so laps of this race to get around that 72.
Yeah, we just ended off a little tight. We were set up pretty good for both stages of the race, both daytime and afternoon, but or late afternoon, I guess. But we were just a little too tight at the end. We were really, really good in the hot, slick track, like you guys saw. Me and Jimmy carved to the front. Um, yeah, I just needed a little bit more turn, but overall, pretty happy with second. Figured had it gone green for a while, probably would have finished there anyway to Jimmy. Um, just frustrated with how everybody drove tonight, though. That was really, really annoying. And I'm not trying to talk down on your event, Ben, but it's just I think some of the people they just don't understand um what real racing is like.
Couldn't have said it myself. Not the happiest with the back part of the field there. Front half of the field, you guys did a spectacular job. And I hope this doesn't damper your appearance next year. We'd love to have you back, and we thank you for the support this year. But P2, nothing to hang your head about after a very wild race here today. Anybody want to thank for putting you here on the podium?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody back at Lockdown Racing, Jimmy, of course, for putting a lot of time into this thing. It was a rocket ship. We definitely showed up with the best car, and that's all you can ask for. So can't thank him enough. JDR Graphics, SimSpeedShop.com, everybody at Rush Fenway Racing, and all their supporters on the car. Really cool to get a good run for them. Thanks to you and everybody that helped put this on. I was having a lot of fun. It gets really frustrating when we get cautions on cautions like that, and I'm glad we at least got some green flag runs there, and it allowed us to have a little bit of fun. So I plan to be back next year. Hopefully the racing can clean up a little bit.
Well, there you have it. Zach Novak, a little frustrated with the amount of cautions, but a good run for the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series champion in 2019. P2 for Mr. Novak. You're standing by, Justin, now with the driver who got the pole and had a more up and down race than Mr. Novak did in Alex McCollum.
Yes, indeed. Joined alongside him right now. And first things first, how would you describe your race? Because you went from the front to the back at one point, to the front, to pit strategy. How would you describe it?
It was very interesting. I was trying to play strategy most of the race with Kuhn. In the beginning, I think I burnt my stuff up pretty bad, so I just took it easy, let everybody go. Made a mistake, I think, on pit road, went to the back, was coming through the field, got hooked, and then got sent to the outside wall, had about 3 minutes of damage, and I was like down 50 RPM, so I'm very happy to finish third that damage.
Indeed, they're curious to find this out. At one point, you were the leader, but then we got that very long run. What happened on that run? Were you saving tires, or did something happen?
A little bit both, but I think I set it up a little too loose for the beginning of the race, so that was my mistake. I'll learn from it and come back even stronger next year.
Indeed, I was about to ask you about that. What do you hope to adjust for next year's running of the Snowball Showdown?
It might we might get the new tire mod in the Super by then. So it's gonna be a different game changer. So it's gonna have to go to work, and hopefully we can get 2 more spots.
Who do you want to thank for being a part of your race car for tonight?
Max Cookson for all the work we do on the Super for 5 flags this week. Congrats to Kuhn for the win. Good run to Tyler Cox. Inex Racing, Simi Cube, Splash and Go, and you guys for broadcasting, and Ben for putting on the event.
Congratulations to top 3, Alex. A decent run for you this evening.
Thank you.
Alex McCollum, once again, P number 3 tonight. I'd like to thank him, Zach Novak, and Ryan Kuhn for joining us here on the tserverhq.com server, the official host of the broadcast booth, and for the Snowball Showdown. Whether you're a team owner, league organizer, or just want a place to hang out online with your friends, check out tserverhq.com tonight. Offering TeamSpeak servers starting at just a couple bucks and guaranteed 99.9% uptime, or your money back. You can't really go wrong. That's tserverhq.com, and be sure to tell the guys at the Snowball Showdown sent you. With that, Ben, your final thoughts after what was an eventful 5-day event for 2019.
Well, let me make sure you can hear this. Whew. We can breathe now. The race is over. It was a bumpy one this year, I'm not going to lie. And, for a lot of the drivers in the field, a lot of stuff we saw today could have been avoided. And for some of the best drivers in all of online sim racing, you would expect more out of them. We'll go back to the drawing board in 2020. We'll look at we'll look at how we can change the event, how we can clean it up, and we'll gladly take each and every one of your suggestions. Over the course of 2020 as we prepare for the 3rd annual Snowball Showdown 372 next year. So, just congrats to Ryan Kuhn. Before we get off the air, I do want to thank everybody that's been a part of this weekend. Robert Barber, who has done a great job as a race director, bringing his real life experience from the from the Fairground Speedway in Nashville. We've had a lot of behind the scenes work. Mitch Rollo, you Justin for putting on for stepping in the booth all weekend long. It's been a long one. Aaron Grosskopf filling in today on LSR TV as the producer. Hugo Louise, Evan Basoko. Earlier in the week, all of our sponsors, Murder Creek Distillery for being on board as a presenting sponsor of this prestigious event, Tobacco Free Florida for last night's event, BK Paints, the Dreamer Racing Series, Barber Ford, T-Server HQ for providing our TeamSpeak server. I'm sure I'm missing a couple, but just a lot of people involved in this, and a lot of work behind the scenes, and I know a lot of drivers probably aren't going to be happy or satisfied with their run this weekend, but I encourage them to just work on their stuff and come support this event next year. This is really the biggest part of the year for us at Snowball Promotions and at the Snowball Derby, and we really appreciate all the effort from not only the drivers but from the viewers and the sponsors that went into this event.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you very much for joining me throughout this entire week, Ben. It was a thrilling weekend for sure, especially with a melodramatic finale to the Snowball Showdown's weekend's festivities. But it's time to say goodbye. For Ben, for producer today in Aaron and Grosskopf, for producer throughout the weekdays in Hugo Louise, for Evan Pizzoco, who commentated night number 1 for the sportsman's class, and anyone else I'm forgetting, thank you very much for tuning in for today's action. I'm Justin Prince saying so long. We will see you next year.